I'm Garrett Wong, and this is the Shuttlepod Show. I come back for a second, a third, a fourth.
What was her reaction when you came back and knew your lines? Did she have any sort of like, well, thanks for learning your lines,
Yeah,
Garrett?
she might have
Way
been
to
a
go,
little...
champ!
Yeah. Finally!
See, guys,
You're gonna do it like that?
Yeah.
You want to be a star?
Yeah. No, so then
I see
went-
Andy Garcia in you a little bit.
I see a little Andy in you.
Gonna go and do my convention thing. Got my costume, I'm going now. Yeah, we're having a ball. It's Star Trek, y'all. Hey, teleporter, beam me up.
Welcome to another episode of The Shuttlepod Show. Today we have a very special guest, Garrett Wong. We will ask some fan questions, play some trivia, find ourselves on Connor's remote island, and much more. And as always, our Patreon members will get a full extended version of this episode. I'm Bonnie Gordon, filling in for Erica LaRose, and before we move on, we have an important message from Andrew Robinson. Andrew, take it away.
Like, subscribe, and join us on Patreon.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Andrew. That's great. Now our hosts, Connor Trenier and Dominic Keating.
Hey. Hello, darling.
How's it going?
Hello.
Thanks for coming in and taking the chair this week.
I
God
love
bless
being
you.
I love being a stunt double.
Yeah.
We love having you here.
I do all
we
my own
survived Mother
stunts.
Nature coming to town.
Yes. The hurricane. We got very lucky. As someone who's lived through a lot of hurricanes, including Katrina, I was overly prepared for this hurricane that turned out to be a rain storm.
It was
which
a rain event.
I was very pleased. I was like, I would rather be over prepared than under prepared.
I totally agree.
So-
Look at it, certainly scuppered our plans to put our show out on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's okay.
there was that.
A lot of power
It didn't go
outages.
there was a lot of
and-
power
yeah.
outages.
But were you prepared for the earthquake, though?
Not expecting an earthquake.
That was the unknown
You felt it?
factor.
Yeah.
So, fun fact: my bed is broken.
Oh yeah. Do tell.
You heard that?
No, nothing like that. But one of the legs of my bed is completely bent down. So I have to. I'm working on getting another bed frame.
Are you sleeping
soon.
on a slant?
I'm basically sleeping on a slant. So anytime my cat jumps on the bed, it shakes. So I
thought it was
legit
the cat.
thought it was just my cat, but then it kept going.
felt it?
And I was like, he's doing the salsa. Like, I'm not sure what's happening, but
Yeah.
my entire bed was just doing this. And I just, which is normal when I'm sleeping because I can't, if I move, it just falls.
All right. God bless.
But then you have that moment where you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
that's an earthquake.
And
I
then the
didn't figure
phone
that.
goes
I didn't
with the emergency alert. And yeah, so
Anyway.
so
God, those emergency alerts.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, endless, wasn't it? I mean,
3 a.m. they had one. I was not happy about that
Yeah.
one. Anyway,
without further ado,
yeah.
let's give G-Man his props.
Well, hello.
The G-Man, I like that.
Welcome back
Yeah.
to the Shuttlepod Show, everyone, ladies and gents, Treks and Trekkers. It's an absolute honour to have. He's a chum of mine. He's a chum of ours.
yes.
He's become
just
a
a chum.
really, really good friend over the 20 years we've known each other. You know, you are the embodiment of this thing of ours. I think I can say that.
The inspiration behind
You really are,
Shuttlepod,
mate.
possibly? All right.
You've lived, breathed, and eaten this really from its core, and I commend you for it. What I want to say, you know, I think I read that one of the reasons you wanted to become an actor was to elevate the profile of Asian Americans in American society on their TV screens, on their cinema screens. And God knows you've done that, mate. You know,
I'm really excited to be
power to you.
to be able to cause some change at least.
it reminds me of Whoopi Goldberg's iconic line when she saw Nichelle Nichols on her TV screen and rushed through to the kitchen to her mom and said, Mom, there's a black lady on TV and she ain't playing no maid.
Yeah.
And God bless the pair of you that you have, you're just the very embodiment of what I think Roddenberry had in mind. And
Yeah.
you really are a walking testament. So, and let's not forget, you're also one of the 50 top most beautiful people in 1997.
I was thinking about that on the way here.
That was 1997 though. So
well, darling,
right after that,
you
I
still
dropped
are.
off the list.
We're just
right?
gonna,
So
like-
it was top 50, then it was 104. The makeup guys at Start. Oh God, I can't even say that. So the makeup guys at the show that I was
Yeah.
on, they were saying Every year after 1997, they said, "Oh, Garrett, so sorry, you're 133 this year." Oh my gosh,
they were
you've
keeping
fallen to
tabs.
240. Yeah, they were keeping tabs on how far I had fallen.
Well,
Are you taking your vitamins?
yeah.
A couple of handsome lads that never made the list.
Yeah.
We're still envious.
It was amazing that even happened, to be perfect. Just to bring light to that, because I had fired all my publicists at that point, so I had no publicist, and I get a call from people saying, "We'd like you to be in the 50 Most Beautiful People issue," which is a huge coup
huge to do.
for any in the sci-fi show that we've done in this universe.
Yeah.
It's Patrick Stewart and myself.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
and Michelle Yeoh.
Patrick ain't no
because,
looker.
Yeah,
Right.
You don't want
Sorry,
to know. You don't want to know what lists I'm on.
I mean, he's a handsome man.
He is, he is.
After a fashion.
yeah, yeah.
I thought an action figure was a big deal, but
Yeah.
that tops it.
That's pretty. But the action figure was a big deal. I mean, you guys remember when you guys first got your first action figure?
Oh, yeah.
I was shaking, literally. I mean, I remember publicity or marketing came into my trailer, knocked on the door, and they said, "Here it is." And it took them about 2 years for them to come out with ours. So we didn't have ours
Because
until
your technology
season
would have
3.
been pretty rudimentary making it back
Yeah,
in those days.
Well, it's funny enough. The company that was making them, they came over to the set and they said, "We are going to laser scan you."
Right.
So we stood on this platform.
Yeah.
It rotated us and it scanned us. They said, "This is going to be the most realistic action figure ever." And we were like, "Yeah, this is going to be great." When they finally brought them 2 years later, I was in my trailer. I walk out. They handed it to me, and my whole body started shaking because I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Because up until then, all my friends were joking with me. They were saying, "We're gonna get your action figure. We're gonna buy it. We're gonna do voodoo on it.
Yeah.
We're gonna put it in the oven and bake it." Like they were, being mates, how they are, right? And so when I actually got it, it was so overwhelming. I almost started to cry. Basically, I was just shaking, going, "Oh my God, here it is. Here I am in 6-inch plastic, version of me." And just at that moment, Robert Beltran walks past me, and over my shoulder, he looks and he goes, "Hey, man, you kind of look Mexican," is all he said. Which, the face on the action figure was not really that accurate. I mean, we're talking about this laser scan. I thought it was going to be identical to me, but it was a generic, a lighter face with dark hair. It could have been Mexican. It could have been Latino, Asian. It could have been anything.
Joke's on you. That was actually an AI machine, and you're now you've been an extra in so many different
Probably.
things
Oh my
you don't
God.
even know.
Yeah.
When they came around with the traveling, circus to do ours,
But they had a semi truck and a.
they did. It was all. I told them 2 things. I said, get the hair and the crutch right.
Get a crowd.
I'm a happy man.
Oh my God.
That's all that's right on it. Everything
right.
else is everything else is way out of proportion.
There's a thought. We should. I think from now on we should have our guests bring their action
figures?
figures with them.
Oh, that'd be great.
Mini me's. I don't know why I haven't thought of that.
And then just have it sitting on the table next
Yeah,
to us.
absolutely.
in a strange pose.
In a strange pose is good.
And if I'm going to finish off the intro,
Yeah.
although you never got promoted and you remained an ensign all those years, you will forever be an admiral in our hearts.
Oh, look how
Mr.
kind
Garrett
he is.
Wong.
He's promoting me. I didn't,
So-
wow.
When we did the comedy show Thursday night at the Star Trek, at the convention in Vegas,
yes.
I was right before you, and I didn't know if I was going to have to intro you or not. And my introduction for you was going to be a man who needs no promotion. I mean, no introduction.
I would have loved that.
I would have loved it too. And then they said, "Oh no, don't introduce him."
No, the
because
CEO showed up. Adam
wanted
showed
to
up.
intro.
Yeah, he
So I was just like,
yeah,
"That's
he was like,
fair,"
"No,
but
I'm gonna intro
I thought it was funny. So that was I was ready.
I would have laughed.
I would have also laughed
Yes.
and then been like, "I hope he doesn't hate me."
I know.
I think every time we slip up and say the phrase we're not supposed to say,
Yeah.
there should just be like a.
Or like the wah,
Everybody goes, oh,
like in the Peanuts, like wah
Yeah,
wah wah.
You mean like an F-bomb thing?
Or just bleep it out. Bleep it out. Yeah.
right,
Beep. Yeah.
right.
light
Yeah.
the fuse.
yeah.
So you grew up. You were in Riverside.
Born
Everywhere.
Born in
Riverside. My father was at University of California, Riverside, and he received his master's degree in botany. So plants,
He was a
basically.
botanist.
Yeah, botanist.
Oh.
And then he got a PhD So he got a full ride to get his master's at UC Riverside. So he came from Taiwan, where he did his undergrad, and he got the full ride, full scholarship. Came to UC Riverside, where I was born.
Right.
My mother did
How
run away
soon after
from.
them arriving were you born?
Well, here's the crazy thing. My mom left my dad during the time that she couldn't take a lot of the things that he was, like, let's just be honest. He came from a family that believed that if you had any type of gas in you, you had to release it immediately, and it doesn't matter where you're at. So my grandfather, my dad's dad would belch, fart, you name it, would pass gas, just release it anywhere. And so my dad also would be doing that, and my mom was like, "This is ridiculous. You know, you just can't. I can't be around this." And so she actually left my father
On
For the
account
fart-
of
for the
farting.
farting.
For
the
too
fart.
much gas.
Listen to this. She
Yeah.
got on a bus and she said, "I want to go where the movie stars are." And the guy goes, "Well, ma'am, we drive through Beverly Hills." So she hopped on a bus in Riverside, went to Beverly Hills, got off, and started knocking on doors to see if she can get a job.
Shut the door.
Wow.
really?
Yeah. So she knocked on one house, and the lady answered. And she goes, "My mom said, listen, I can wash clothes. If you have kids, I can take care of them. I can cook, but I need a job now." And they're like, "You know what? We don't have any. You know, there's nothing that you can do for us, but our neighbors." They have a newborn, and it's Dr. So-and-so. My mom knocked on the second door's house. The wife answered, and my mom gave the spiel to that lady, and she goes, "Well, God bless. I have been looking for someone. This is perfect." And so she, let me call my
That's
husband. So she called her husband
amazing.
at his office that day, and they hired my mom. So my mom stayed there. She did call my dad and said, "I'm not going to tell you
I live in
where I'm
Beverly
at."
Hills
Well, yeah,
now.
I live in
Sorry,
Beverly Hills.
darling.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
too
not
full
gonna-
of hot air for me. I live in Beverly Hills. Yeah.
So yeah, so basically that was what happened. So she
And
was
you're born at this point. You are.
No, I'm in her
you're
belly.
Not, oh, you're.
Oh,
in her
she's
stomach.
pregnant with
She's
you.
pregnant with me.
Wow.
She's looking after the kids of this Italian American doctor, and it's that was her life at that time. And I remember her whole thing was that she wanted to work for a famous movie star. But when she finally left to go back to my father, she finally like, fine, I'll come back.
Just
at
hold
that
it
point,
in. Hold it in,
yeah,
sir.
her
Okay.
reputation had kind of preceded hers, and so that there were a lot of people that wanted her to come over. And at the time,
You mean because she was such a great.
yes,
asset
I
to
don't
the
know
house?
if it was Rock Hudson. It was whoever was the tip top of Hollywood A-list then had called
Early
that doctor and
70s.
said yes, and
Yeah.
called the doctor and said, "Hey." Late 60s.
Late
I called the
60s.
doctor and said, "Listen, we want to hire the lady that's working for you. So can you let her have? Can you let us have her?"
Wow.
And at that point, my mom had already left, so she went back to
Wow.
my father. But from there, I was born.
He discovered Gas X.
He just
Yeah. He started
I
taking
don't know.
Tums.
He swore
Yeah.
that he wouldn't. I don't. He wrote. He signed some
And they've been
contract,
together
some
ever
no
since.
gas contract. And well, she stayed. She stayed. I was born in
writer.
Riverside, and then he got his master's. We moved to Indiana.
That's right.
So we're in Indiana there, where he
Whereabouts?
got a full ride. He got a full ride to get his PhD from Purdue. So he was
Wow.
at Purdue. He was a Boilermaker,
Boilermaker,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's smart.
A lot of good football players have
Go
come
Big
from
Ten,
Purdue,
right?
actually. Yeah. Did someone say go
Brees.
Big Ten?
Big
Someone say-
Ten, go Big
Oh,
Ten.
here we go. Okay. So, yeah. So, essentially, my sister was born in Indiana. We stayed there for 2 years. And then he got a job offer after he got his PhD from Bermuda.
you went to the
That's
islands.
when we went to the islands,
Yeah.
which is in the British Commonwealth.
Yes.
So, that's where I started my schooling.
Wow.
At the age of three and a
You talk-
half.
You talked British for a bit, didn't
I
you?
spoke with a British accent. I did. I talked like this. And so,
Mummy.
mummy,
Mummy.
which is the
Daddy
strangest-
has gas again, Mommy.
Yeah, mummy.
Daddy's passing the hot air,
It
Mama.
is, but
Passing,
it's
darling,
so
passing.
strange to see an
Passing.
Asian
Yeah.
kid, right? To have an Asian kid speaking with a heavy Asian British accent is very funny. So we're in Bermuda, and I started first grade at 3.5. So I turned 4 in first grade.
What?
Which in England,
guy was
which
9.
You're not allowed. You're not allowed. The youngest you can be in the U.S. is 5.5, I think, or 5 3/4 in first grade. You can't be super young. But
But in the Bermuda Triangle.
Bermuda Triangle,
That's
where time doesn't really matter.
It's timey-wimey.
Yeah, so that was pretty crazy to be a first grader and turn at 3.5, turning 4. And in the British school system, in our school, I don't know if it's the same all over England, but we had A and B class. Did you have that there?
yeah. Upper and lower, as it
Yeah,
were,
so
yeah.
upper and lower. So I was in 5A. I was 5 upper, and then when you finish 5, 5A skips to 7. 5B does 6 in Bermuda.
Right.
So if I left Bermuda in the middle of 5th grade. If I had stayed one more year and jumped a grade and then came to the U.S., I would have been at that point a 14-year-old freshman at UCLA because I was a 16-year-old freshman at UCLA because of the early age. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is not, I know
Was
you guys
that
say,
good?
wow.
No,
I've
it's
always-
not.
No,
No.
it's good when you're young, going like, haha, I'm so much
Yeah.
smarter than all you guys. You guys are idiots when you're 9, 10, or 11.
then you don't have
but
any
then when you get of
ignorant age.
your adolescent years, when you start noticing
Yes.
the other sex,
Yeah, and you wanna
then
be
you're,
social.
and you want to be social. You're 2 years younger than everyone else.
Right.
I'm sitting here trying to talk to a 17-year-old girl in my class, and I'm 15, and she's looking at me like, "Well, you're my little brother," you know. So there's no social life at all. And
like, "How you
sports.
doing?"
And imagine sports. If I'm 15 and I'm trying to go up for the football team against your 17-year-old body, you're going to cream me. You're faster, you're stronger, you're bigger, right? So it affected my sports life as well. So
I always thought the boys needed, if you're on that sort of border between not going or going to the grade, like, it's always better to be older for your class.
Oh my God, yeah.
And you were a baby.
There's a book called The Outliers. I don't know if you've read that book, Malcolm Gladwell, and it's basically talking about how if you look at the guys in the NHL, most of those guys they have January birthdays because they're the old. If you think about it, if you're January of one year, look how much more developed and faster you are than a December kid.
Yep.
Right.
So there's all these NHL stars that are January because guess what? When they were younger, they got preferential treatment in terms of better junior programs because they were bigger, faster, and they developed playing time, everything. So so that I guess the caveat.
Career didn't take
So
off.
how many years were you in Bermuda?
6 years.
So,
and after that, the island of
then
Bermuda.
You went to Tennessee, right?
Right. But
Did you like Bermuda?
You have to. I did like Bermuda. It was weird because
Do
I
you
was the
remember
only
it?
Asian
Do
kid.
you have
I remember
strong memories?
Oh,
Yeah.
most definitely. The British private school, my British teachers. They paddled in the British school back then. I mean, you got physically beaten.
Oh, yeah, right.
And smacked. Like you don't see that now, but back then.
All-girl Catholic school. We had the
same
rulers.
thing. Oh, the ruler thing? Oh, we had a teacher.
Yeah.
The bad kid would come up and we would wear shorts during the summer and he would say, "Spread your legs." The kid would stand there. He'd take his ruler and smack between his two legs like that really hard. So that was the, kind of discipline that you would have at a British private school.
But corporal punishment.
Pretty much corporal punishment. But after 6 years, Bermuda says, become a citizen of Bermuda or leave. And so at that point, my parents were like, okay, our kids have U.S. passports. Do we
Not
change them to
jeopardizing that.
Bermudian passports? No. There's no value to have a Bermudian passport, really. So we left. And the plan was to go to Florida, where my dad would continue his job working for a Department of Agriculture like he did in Bermuda. He was hired there right straight out of Purdue. But then we pivoted and went to Memphis, Tennessee, of all places.
Again, in an academic position, or
No, this is crazy.
This is a proper job, was it?
Yeah, he went away from science and he went into business. He worked for his younger brother, who had started a company in Memphis that became the largest craft importers in the nation, wholesalers. Wow. So they supplied Walmart, Mervyn's, Kmart, Michael's Art Supply with all of their inventory. Like if you walked into
Taiwan.
Yeah, so they imported stuff from Taiwan, Philippines, Hong Kong, and then they would sell them wholesale to these retail stores, right? And the retail stores would mark it up, but they were the wholesalers. And if you walked into Walmart or Kmart back in the heyday, every item, every silk flower, cross stitch, needlepoint, macrame, everything.
The Wang brothers.
WII. Well, they pronounce it Wang. They said Wang's International Incorporated. WII would be on every single item in those stores. Wow. Yeah, it was insane. And he ended up influencing my uncle. He ended up influencing Memphis politics. It was crazy. He spoke out against a really horrible governor that no one would say anything about. And all of a sudden, it was so nuts because he got all this fan mail. He had tons of fan mail. He had all these attorneys saying, if that governor tries to sue you, I will represent you for free.
Wow.
If you do that. So there was a lot of, stuff that went down through my uncle. But my dad was working for his younger brother. So in the Chinese
the
hierarchy,
dynamic of that,
that's a little weird. So my dad was put in charge of the catalog. So my dad had to photograph every single item in this massive, and it was the size of a phone book. That's how many items that they had in their warehouse, right? I, at one point when I was at UCLA, when I went to college, my dad had been sent out to California to run the California warehouse, the California division of my uncle's company, basically. So in the summer times, I would go to the warehouse and box and items for shipping to retail stores. So that was my job as a college kid.
That's a great thing to do, though.
warehousing.
I'm fully commend parents that get their kids to work like that.
Yeah.
Whether it's for them or not.
Did you ever go see the Ducks at the Peabody?
Oh yeah. the Peabody restaurant, the Peabody Hotel,
Yeah.
with the wonderful restaurant, and these ducks would
They
come
have
out.
real ducks, don't they?
They have
Wandering
ducks
around.
there.
It's like a
this is the cool
parade,
thing.
right?
Oh, it's crazy
The ducks,
story.
yeah, they get walked down
They-
in the
yeah.
morning, and they go into the little fountain when
been
they
there.
swim around and they do
Yeah,
their thing.
amazing.
And then every night at the same time, the ducks are basically marched
Paraded,
and they
yeah.
walk out like they're herded out of the. They know where to go, and they waddle out and they go into their little side area and they go. To
They
sleep
have
there.
a penthouse.
Yeah, they
They have
live
a-
better
the
than
penthouse?
most.
They
All
have-
of us.
Yeah,
They live
the
better
woman
than all
who
of
did
us
this,
combined.
she was like, "I've got a penthouse. There's be
believe
a
it.
penthouse for my ducks."
Yeah. And the Peabody Hotel would have this really nice 5-star restaurant, or what I would consider a 5-star restaurant
They
back
serve
then.
duck.
And they served duck. No, they didn't. That would be so
There's
bad.
only 6 left.
No.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden you order duck, and the next day the parade of ducks. You're like, wait a minute, there's only 7 of them now. Oh no!
The big story
Garrett
about
Wong was here.
Yeah,
the big story about the Peabody Hotel and that restaurant was that Tom Cruise had come through, and he saw a table of high school prom. You know, they're all dressed in tuxes and prom dresses. They were having dinner there, and he came over to say hello to them. And there must have been 20 of them at the table. And then he left, and they were so excited that Tom Cruise stopped and talked to them. And then went to pay the bill. Tom had covered the entire bill for all 20 of them. Yeah.
That's
so,
really sweet.
And when you hear about A-list celebs
like
acting
that.
like humble, cool, generous people, that warms your heart.
Yeah.
Because there's way too many stories of the
Of them being
opposite of the other side.
assholes.
Being
Yeah.
s-
He worked with
jerks.
Tom, and you only had good stuff to say about him, how professional he was.
a big fan of Tom Cruise and became a
Me
bigger
too.
fan once I worked with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care what you worship as long as you're not hurting
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
I just want Tom
As
to
you're a good
adopt me.
person.
That's all. Just I'll be your son.
Same.
I'll be
Actually-
your Asian son.
If
That
Tom,
doesn't go so well for him.
Yes, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Just
Tom
want to
Cruise can-
clarify that real quick. Connor is talking about the fact that Tom Cruise is a famous Scientologist.
Can we say?
He is famous, and yes, he is a Scientologist.
Yeah. So we're in Bermuda. Then got to UCLA, where I went to college. I was pre-med, planning on being an anesthesiologist. I was.
That's
gonna
right.
be-
You.
Yeah.
I mean, you changed majors a few
I
times.
did.
Didn't
My
you?
whole idea was I was going to be Doogie Howser. I thought, okay, I'm going to get in there, finish
Yeah.
UCLA in 3 years, finish medical school in 3 years, finish my extended training in a year, be a resident in 2 months, and I'd be a full-fledged
Had you shown
anesthesiologist.
any inclination for the craft at all at this point?
No, not really.
No.
You've
Not
never done a
really.
play? You've never-
never.
So you ended up doing.
No.
You ended up doing. What was your? You decided Asian studies
I went-
and electives in theatre.
Yeah.
Where
So
did the-
no, I started with pre-med, so biology. Then I
yes.
switched my major to poli-sci because I thought I was going to go to law school. That didn't happen. Then I switched my major to history, then econ because I thought I was going to go to get my MBA. That didn't happen. And after economics, then I switched my major finally to East Asian Studies.
Yeah.
And I walked into the day I walked into the East Asian Studies department to get the requirements of that major, what I need
was
to
a
fulfill.
girl.
No. The receptionist looks at me and she goes, "Hey, I have a note here from a casting director from Hollywood looking for people to audition for a TV movie. Would you mind? Do you have time to audition for a TV movie?" I was like, "Okay." I mean, it was the weirdest thing. I said,
Wow.
"Okay." So I went in and auditioned for a movie. I think it was called like China Nights or Forbidden Nights, but it was a story of a graduate student, a mainland Chinese graduate student in China having an affair with his English professor, with his American professor, right? A female professor. So the role of the female professor was being played by Melissa Gilbert, who played Laura Ingalls on
yeah.
Little House on the Prairie.
ended up being
an
our
older
SAG
Melissa
president.
Gilbert,
That's right.
yeah. And so she was the and I remember walking into that casting director's office, and the first thing she said was, "How old are you?" Because imagine I'm 18, 19, because
Right.
remember I started UCLA at 16. I switched my major 5 times. So at 19 was the age I was, and the role of this grad student was he was like 22 or 23.
Right.
But at 19, I looked 12. Okay, so
was
when I
still
walked
very
in,
fresh-faced.
the casting director was like, "You're way too young for this role." I was like, "Oh," but I'll let you read anyway. So I read, and so I had a little bit of tingling of, "Oh, this is kind of an interesting life."
Do you remember who the casting director was?
I don't remember who that casting director was.
You got the bug.
No, I got the bug. And then I researched the theater department, and I had friends that were in the theater department, and they told me, "Don't switch. If you switch your major to theater, you're in for a lot of manual labor." Because what the UCLA theater department did back then, I don't know if they do it now, is every theater major has to take lighting 101. But lighting 101 is you are lighting the main stage play. You are basically free labor. Okay, is what you are.
Yeah.
Or set construction 203. Hey, guess what? You're building the whole damn I Remember Mama set is what you're doing.
Well, if you
right?
want to get into the business, sure, it's a good experience.
But
you know.
at the same time, you're not learning anything. I mean, are you planning to build sets for plays? If you are, then that's great.
Sure.
But if you're not, if you're just going to be an actor on stage or in front of cameras,
Right.
you're not going to need that information. So I did not switch my major to theater. I kept with these East Asian studies.
Right.
And I walked into TA 20, which is beginning acting. And I said, is there any way a non-major can take this class? And the teacher said, well, because it's fall quarter, my priority goes to all the incoming freshmen, theater major freshmen that are taking this class. If you come back spring quarter, if I'm probably going to have a space or two, I can get you in then. So I came back, took that class. And then after that, every other class I took in theater, they ask you, what other classes have you taken so far and which professors? So then everyone thought I was a theater major because I had that first one to go off of.
Yeah.
And I just got into everything else. So I took stage combat, movement for the actor, acting for film and television, intermediate acting, you name it, everything I could take without being a theater major I took. Yeah. So that got me into... the bug bit me at that point. I did a main stage play.
Yeah, what do you remember? What the first piece you might have done in that period of time that was like, oh, this is okay. I'm up for this.
Probably when I got cast in the main stage, and it was to honor the 50th anniversary of the internment of the Japanese Americans during World War II.
Wow.
So the play was called 12-1A, and it
Quite
was
heavy,
about
huh?
very heavy. It was about a family that was interned, and I played the son who just flips out because he loses it because of what's happened. His parents have lost their livelihood, their houses, the businesses, sent into these barracks basically in the middle of nowhere in Arizona.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's George's story.
It's George's
and
story.
when I was performing this play, George came to watch it.
Did he?
So I saw. So to me, I knew. Oh my gosh!
This is
maybe I have a
way
little
before anything.
Yeah,
This
this is before
is-
anything. I go,
it's
George
amazing.
Takei, Sulu is sitting in that seat, and
my.
honestly, he's the only guy, if you think about it, that had a non-stereotypical role for an Asian guy in the 60s.
Yep.
The other actor was the guy playing Hop Sing on Bonanza, and that was very stereotypical. You know, Mr. Cartwright, can I clean your clothes for you? Can I make some food for you? I mean, horrible. And then you had George Takei, Warp 8,
Yes.
Warp 9. I mean, it was like, what?
And doing funny bits with Walter. You know,
no.
they were Rosencrantz and Guildenstern a bit, weren't they?
Yes, they
They
were.
really were.
They were. But doing a UCLA play main stage and looking out and seeing someone who had made it in Hollywood.
Did he come around
and
to say hello after?
No, but he'll say to this day, if I'm on stage with him, I remember when I first saw Garrett.
Really?
He was on stage at UCLA playing a
bless.
Japanese American son of a family during World War II.
That wouldn't fly now.
Yeah. I would never have cast him. He's clearly the wrong Asian.
How colorblind was casting at that time for
Were
UCLA?
UCLA. The main stage before the one that I did was I Remember Mama, and they said this is going to be the first rainbow casted play, a main stage that we're doing. So they were going to cast the entire family, multi-ethnic. I was up for the son in that one, but it went to Mike Gorgon, my friend Mike Gorgon, and then they cast the sister as Latino, I think, and everyone else was still Caucasian. So they didn't really. They kind of rainbow casted, but not. They tried. Yeah, get A for effort.
Yeah.
And then I got into 12-1A, and George saw me. And again, when I was at UCLA, I booked a role in a play called Porcelain. Porcelain was by a Singapore Chinese British guy who wrote this, and it's this play basically about, you know what cottaging is? Do you know what that is? Yeah. So his eyes just pop. Why would I even ask Dom if he knows what that is? I mean, I know you know. So cottaging, for those of you who don't know,
boys' boarding school.
it's when in England when gay men want to find love or find satisfaction, they will go to a public restroom and meet a complete stranger and have sex in the cubicle.
And it's called a cottage.
Cottaging. It's cottaging.
Oh, that's sexy.
So this, so
George
I
Michael
learned
was a
so
big
much on
No,
this
you got
show.
busted at the park.
God bless him.
so
I mean,
porcelain
not
was
something to be made fun of now.
Yeah.
Now I
But
see
Porcelain
you're
is
talking about
about-
the throne, the porcelain throne.
Yeah, well, kind of. Porcelain was about a play about a British Chinese teenager who was gay, who finally comes out to his parents. They kick him out of the house. He goes to a public restroom. He meets an older Irish blue collar fellow who's actually experimenting, not really, has a wife and everything, but wants to try this out, falls in love with him, has a relationship with him, but then his older Irish blue collar lover leaves him and starts looking for other men, to be with. And so basically my character stalks him to the same bathroom where we met, waits for hours. When he comes out of the stall, my character shoots and kills him. So the beginning of the play, it's very similar to Equus because it's a criminal psychologist interviewing my character. So the play is set up on 5 stools. I'm sitting on the center stool. There's 2 stools to my right, 2 to my left. Those are seated. There are 4 actors there playing anywhere from 3 to 18 roles.
And they're always on the stage.
And I'm the only one playing one role. I play John Lee. The light's coming down.
Right.
And the beginning of the play, I'm on stage when the house is coming in, which is very rare. So it's lit, and I'm sitting on the stage. It's a white floor, and it's covered with red origami cranes. So I'm folding crane after crane and throwing them on the floor because there is an Asian tradition or a belief that if you can fold 1,000 cranes and make a wish, your wish will come true, or 10,000, whatever it is. So my character is trying to fold as many cranes to bring back his lover, basically, because he killed him in this crime of passion, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. And that play put me on the map. I mean, a lot of...
Where was it performed?
It was at the Burbage Theater in West LA, West Los Angeles. And it was supposed to be I think it was supposed to be like a 3-week run, and they extended it to 12 weeks. So I dropped out of UCLA, my final quarter. Wow. I'm short 1 class, so I don't even have my diploma.
Thrilled your parents on that.
Oh my God, Asian parents, they died. They thought I was the biggest failure, you name it. Asian parents are like, hey, let me tell you about my son at Princeton. Oh, let me tell you about my son at Yale. That's what they're all about. And then my parents are like, oh, my son just dropped out of UCLA.
I am right in understanding.
To play as a gay man.
Proviso, didn't they? That they would back you for 2 years.
Well, yeah, what happened was I told them, I said, this is really what I want to do. And my mom's like, you got to be kidding me. Like you've told us you want to be a doctor for years.
Yeah.
We have sacrificed everything for you, and you're going to go into acting. And acting in the Chinese, in Chinese history, it's considered the lowest possible rung. You're a street urchin if you're an actor. You beggar on the street is on the same tier as actor, basically, historically speaking.
There's a musical you need to see if you haven't already called Supportive White Parents.
Oh, wow.
Have you heard of it?
No.
My friend Joy wrote this. It was done at, shout out to them. I had friends in it. It was done at Second City and kept getting extended, and then they wrote it into a full-fledged musical. I think they're trying to get it actually they have an album out now, and they're gonna try and get it recorded and whatnot. But it's about a young Asian girl who changes her major from pre-med biology to East Asian studies and theater.
What?
And the parents—
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's when whole time you're telling the story, I'm just like, I have to tell them about this musical. And it's so funny, and her parents are so disappointed in her, and she freaks out. So she makes a wish upon a star that she wished she had supportive white parents, and then she wakes up and they're like singing all these songs like with a tambourine and guitar, like, we love in this family, we hug in this family. She's like, you guys hug? Like, it's so funny. It's the funniest musical I've ever seen.
I want to see this.
Oh my God. I've seen it so many times because it's so good.
Oh God.
I have the soundtrack, like, you would just love it. And it just shines a light on how ridiculous
we hug in this family.
Yeah. It's so good, you guys. It's so good.
Maybe the supportive white
love you in this family.
My favorite is they go to Trader Joe's or whatever, and then they do all they go to Whole Foods, and then they're like, singing in Whole Foods, like all the different culture food that they get to eat.
We don't fight in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Let's try dim sum tonight.
Yeah.
But the 2-year deal started because of that conversation with my mom, telling her I'm not going to med school.
Yeah.
And she said, well, you're going to go to law school. I said, nope. Okay, business school. I said, nope. She said, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to act. And she literally dropped the phone, and she said, okay, you name one Chinese man who's made it. You name one Chinese man who's made it in Hollywood. And I said, Bruce Lee. And then right when I said that, she goes, he's dead. Pick another. It was immediate. I mean, it was immediate.
She
didn't have Jackie Chan yet.
No, because because Jackie Chan, Chow Yun-fat, all those guys were still in Hong Kong. They were stars in Hong Kong.
Right.
Jackie Chan had come over here to do Cannonball Run, and that's it. He didn't do anything but Cannonball Run, and then went back to Hong Kong.
Right.
So I had no one. I mean, if you think about Asian actors who've made it or at least have a long resume, there's a few, like James Hong, right? I mean, he's been around forever. But my mom's not going to know who James Hong is, you know?
Right.
And then in the stand-up, I talked about him.
I remember this.
Yeah, James Hong walks up to me at an award show, an Asian award show, and he goes, hi, Garrett, James Hong, nice to meet you. And I'm like, hey, James, I've been watching your work since I was little guy. He's like, oh, and congratulations on your career. And he's like, oh, thank you. So is there any possibility for me to be on Voyager as your uncle or maybe your grandfather?
He's
So
working
this guy's working. And I was like, there's a reason why he's got the longest resume in Hollywood.
Yeah.
He's the best networker on the planet.
Yep.
And I look at him, I'm like, James, that's impossible. We're in the Delta Quadrant, but there's no way that we can actually have any communication with anybody there's no way. He's like, yeah, but you have a holodeck, don't you? And so I'm like, oh, he knows it all.
Yeah.
He knows everything. He did his
Flashbacks.
research.
Did he come on?
No, but I'm just
didn't make
saying, it's very funny that he knew all that
He
stuff.
knew. He did his
my
research.
God,
I met
he
him a
did his
few times.
research.
He's a sweet
Yeah, he's a
man,
sweet
isn't
guy.
he?
He's a
He
sweet
really
guy.
is. Good actor too.
But telling my mom when she said Bruce Lee, he's dead, pick another, I couldn't think of anyone. And then it was basically 5 years of them saying, have you given up this crazy notion to be an actor? Why can't this be your hobby? Why can't you be a doctor and actor part-time as a hobby? And I was like, what, I'm going to be in the middle of surgery? And I'm like, oh, I've got to audition. I've got to go. I mean, it's not going to work. I said, this is what I want to do.
Can't do
So
that
we
open heart
fought-
surgery. I have rehearsal.
I have rehearsal, yeah. So we fought for 5 years. It was literally just every
tough.
discussion was you need to give this up. So in that 5-year time, training. Outside, I'd left UCLA, training with different teachers, doing improv class.
You're in LA.
In LA, doing improv class, doing auditioning class with Margie Haber, doing, you name it, I was everywhere. And then finally, I had 2 very progressive aunties at a family reunion that convinced my parents. They said, look, we've seen him at every family reunion. He has entertained us with his accents, his impersonations, all the things that he does. Clearly, he's
Got the
cut.
bone.
Yeah, he's cut from this type of cloth,
Yeah.
and I think you should support him. So they came to me and said, okay, your father and I have made a decision. We're going to support you. What do you need? And I said, this is what I need. I said, I need support, meaning I need room, board. So I need money for food, for my rent, for acting class, for photos, because what I've noticed, all my friends that are in Los Angeles trying to make it as an actor, most of them are working at 3 different restaurants as waiters.
And
So
they
all
end
their
up being-
energy, they're so tired. They can't even audition. I was like, there's no energy left. I said, I don't want to be one of those people. So my parents said, so what do you need? How long would you need this unconditional support of everything? I said, I threw 2 years out because I thought they're going to negotiate me down to a year, 6 months, whatever. And so 2 years of room, board, and food and acting class money, that's that's a
reasonable.
lot.
That's significant.
But I thought they would, at least negotiate. And they came back a couple of days later and said, we'll give you the whole 2 years. I was like, oh, wow.
Did you have a
Can
different
your
span
family
of
talk
time
to
in
my
mind?
family?
I thought in that 2 years, if I can book one thing, I could extend it for another year. That's what I thought.
Do you have a SAG card at this point, or do you have
at
anything?
At that point, I don't even think I had a SAG card. No, because once they gave me the go ahead, then I said, now it's time to get a SAG card. And at that time, the easiest way was if you did 3 days of union extra work.
Yeah.
If you were and I had a friend who was in charge of Cenex casting, which was the non-union casting,
Yeah.
and he knew everyone at Central Casting. So he said, I'll get you in. So I did one day on a Michael Jackson music video, Heal the World. Yep. I played a Chinese soldier in that one. I did one day on Cheers, and I did one day on oh my God, Sequest DSV.
Oh.
So
Sequest
okay. So I'm going to say this again for the strike. So I did.
Is that Roy
I did.
Schneider's
Yes, it is.
show?
I did.
It was,
So I'm going to say
wasn't it?
this.
so
I'm going to say
good.
I did a Michael Jackson video. I did the sitcom where everyone knows your name, that one, and I also did the submarine show with Roy Scheider in it. So those were my 3.
That's when I first arrived in town, 94.
And-
So you remember that?
Yeah.
And the
Totally.
kid from Ladybugs.
Oh, what was his name?
That movie with Rodney Dangerfield.
He passed away.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
Oh, my Lord.
Self-passing, meaning
that's-
like he couldn't handle Hollywood any longer. So Jonathan
Lord.
Brandis,
Yes.
is that his name?
I think
Yes,
so.
yes, very sad. But I remember I was so nervous to being on Sequest. Oh, shit. I was so
Tell us
nervous
what
being
else,
I was so nervous being on the submarine show because my friend from UCLA theater department was a series regular on there.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was like, okay, please don't be on the call sheet. Please don't, because I didn't want him to see me there because I was, here I am. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm background and you're the star. I didn't want to, and I didn't want Marco to
swabbing.
see. Yeah, I'm schlubbing the deck right
Yeah.
now. I didn't want Marco Sanchez.
I'm just
to
one of
see
your
me.
seamen.
Yeah,
Wait.
literally.
Oh,
there?
no. Yeah.
Was he on set?
No, he wasn't. Thank God. But the funniest thing happened because during a lunch break, we were on location. So we were filming out in some city of industry, some warehousey, industrial looking thing. And I was playing like one of the security teams. So I had like, weapon, everything, dark military type clothing. But we went to lunch and I was the type of guy that I let, and of course, extras eat last, background eats last. So yeah, main crew, main everyone, actors, they ate. But I let all the background eat before me. I was like, no, you guys go ahead. So I was that guy. I was like, no, go ahead. I'll eat last. So finally, everyone had their meal. So my turn to order, one straggling grip walks up, right? And immediately a second AD runs up and says, what are you fucking doing? What are you doing? I said, I'm about to order. Not in front of the grip, not in front of this electrician. He's much more important than you are. How dare you order before him? I said, do you understand? I let the entire cast, all the main crew, and all the extras eat before me. I'm the last one to order. She's like, well, you're going to have to wait a little longer, aren't you? I said, you know what? It's not always going to be like this. She goes, oh, what do you mean? It's not always going to be like this. I said, when I'm a series regular on my own show, I'm going to let all the extras eat before me, is what I said. And the second AD looked at me and says, yeah, like that's ever going to happen. And then I booked, the sci-fi show I was on.
she ever-
Not too long.
Did she ever
I was
show up?
waiting for her to show up on the set. I was going, you are the little witch that messed with me that day.
Would
and I'm
you
gonna
like to order?
Yeah. In fact, you will have no food today, is what I'm going to say. Yeah. Everyone gets to eat, and you get nothing.
And you get
no,
gruel.
no, I
You get
I was like,
gruel.
everyone gets steak and lobster, and you get oatmeal. That is what you get, miss.
And a packet of ketchup.
And a packet of ketchup for your oatmeal.
He
yeah.
went Joe Pesci on her ass.
Yeah, So I was, it was one of those things where I said, and I held true to that. There were days that the food truck was there when we were on location for the sci-fi show that I was on. And I literally would just let the background eat first. I'd go. Jesus, like, no. We can't go before you.
Yeah,
they were
almost
so
won't- they
freaked
almost
out.
won't let you.
They were like, I can't do it. I was like, dude, I'm telling you right now, you can go do it. I'm like, but I'm going to get in trouble. I said, I'm giving you permission to go before me. Now go. Like I was like pushing them, and they were like, I don't want to do it. So
I'll get in trouble.
yeah, they kept thinking they were going to get in trouble, and because it's ingrained in their head, right? You can't eat.
And for the second too. It's not, they're like, what are you doing? This is my job.
Yeah.
So what had you done a job before getting the big kahuna, or had you?
I did. All
Yeah.
American Girl.
right.
Margaret Cho show. Margaret Cho, the comedian. She had her own show on ABC.
Did you guys date for 2 minutes?
No. She said something about that.
Yeah, I sort of read that, didn't I?
Yeah, she said something to Entertainment Weekly or something like that, and they printed it. And so then I called her and left a message, and I said, Margaret, I don't know about us dating for however long you said, because I'm pretty sure that happened in an alternate universe, is what I said on her message. And then she called back and she left a 15-minute message profusely apologizing, saying, I'm so sorry, Garrett. As comedians, sometimes we embellish the truth. Sometimes we add a little, that might have been my own sort of fantasy in my head, whatever. But I am so embarrassed. I'm so sorry. I will not say that again. So, yeah. So that.
Well, and also press and stuff like that tend to embellish and like take words that you say and
most definitely
make it their own and warp it. So who
Most
knows what
definitely.
she said to where they made it be like, they had a 10-year relationship.
Yeah,
and you're like,
right.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Have 3 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing,
Congratulations, by the way.
God
yeah,
bless Margaret.
huge trailblazer.
Yeah.
And for her show, I was actually cast as handsome Korean man number 3. Well, I had a co-star role.
Did you keep that letter?
Yeah.
I love those letters.
Handsome Korean
We are
man
delighted.
number 3.
You will be playing.
You will be playing handsome Korean man number 3. And so,
Not half as delighted as I was.
unfortunately, you weren't as good as number 1 or 2, but we will give you number 3.
Third time's the charm,
Third
darling.
time's the charm.
Hey, Mom, you like apples?
You like that?
Yeah.
How about them
How
apples?
about them apples,
Yeah.
Mama? Look what I'm doing now. I'm not a doctor, but I'm handsome Korean man number 3. But the craziest thing happened when we filmed that pilot for them, and that was in the pilot episode. My agent called me after. They said, they want you back. they want you back for the first episode after their break from filming
So
the pilot.
you did
I said,
something right.
I said, as handsome Korean man number 3, and I said, he goes, no, you're the lead, you're the main guest star. You're playing Dr. Raymond Hahn,
shit.
an anesthesiologist.
You finally made it to be a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let me say that
Look,
again without
Mom,
saying the
I'm
character.
not a doctor, but I play one on
Yes,
TV.
that's right. Say
You
that again
finally
without
got to
saying it.
say it. You
Yep.
finally got to say it.
So I was told that I was playing the boyfriend of Margaret Cho's character, and I would be this anesthesiologist. So yes, I was got to play my
Wow,
doctor
that's where the
self.
rumor,
Yes.
that's where the dating
super
rumor
cool.
started. There.
I invited my parents down to see that.
Was it live taping?
Yes, live
great.
taping.
Where at?
At Disney at
right.
ABC. ABC. Wait. Yeah, in Burbank, right?
They
Yeah.
are the freakiest.
So we were.
A live sitcom taping,
Yeah.
man. Is,
So it's crazy.
I've never been more scared in my life.
So
Never done
makeup.
one.
I've never done one. No.
Makeup and hair were fritzing around me. I was standing on set. My parents are in the audience, and I go, Mom, Dad, look, I play a doctor on TV. Because their whole thing was he's supposed to be a doctor.
Yeah.
He didn't do
That's
it, and so my first role that I booked, speaking role, is playing a doctor.
And they were both looking behind.
And they're like, we don't even know who this is. Yeah. And then, for that 5 years of arguing with my parents, literally, I thought they hated the fact that I was choosing to be an actor, that they were making my life a living hell, So when I got on to the Sci-Fi Show, it was literally...
Because that came pretty quick.
That came pretty quick, yeah. So it was after doing... I was actually on... rehearsing for that episode where I play her anesthesiologist boyfriend when I got the tweet, not the tweet, Jesus.
The
it wasn't even,
text.
excuse
Wow.
me. The page. It was a page, yes.
yeah.
I got a page.
Yeah,
We had
I was about to
pagers.
say.
I got the page and from my agent.
pulled over,
Yeah.
got 25 cents out of
I was at Disney and I looked at Clyde Kasatsu, who plays the dad in the show, and I said, Clyde, is there any way I could use? I know you have a phone in your trailer. Can I use that? I got to call my agent. I think it's something big. And so he's like, yeah, come in. So I called, and that's when my agent, Jim Hess, who sounds like Stephen Wright, the comedian from back in the 90s,
yeah.
right?
Hilarious.
So I go, Jim, what's up? And he goes, so you got the job. And I'm like, what? I booked the role. I booked the role. He's like, yeah,
just
you
said
booked the role.
that.
I said, well, I mean, are you messing with me? He was like, why would I be messing with you? Because you don't sound excited, Jim. You don't sound excited. He
Trust
goes,
me, this is me.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Like that. That was all he could give you, right? Very excited. And I'm like, oh my God. So I said, what do I have to do? You got to get across you're in Burbank now. You need to get to Paramount. They need to do your fitting today. I'm like, today? I said, okay, well, I'm wrapping pretty soon. Well, you better hurry. So I sped to and everyone knows, getting from the Valley to Hollywood at
Yeah.
rush hour, no bueno, okay? So I was pulling my hair out. Finally, I pull up to Paramount Studios, front lot, right off of Melrose, pull right in. The security guard is a guy that has been there for every audition I've had. And I had 5 auditions total.
Did
right?
you?
So I pull up and he goes, you got it. I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, I got it. It was like, he was like, I won the bet because I had bet him. I bet him audition 2. He was like, I know you got it. I know. I'm going to be a fortune teller. You're going to be the one who books this role. And I said, my resume is non-existent. I'm handsome Korean man number 3 and one other role as an anesthesiologist. That's it. And he's like, well, I'm going to bet you a case of beer that you're going to book this role. And sure enough, yeah, he called me on it right when there. I said, so I need to go park now. I'm late for the fitting. He says, B tank over there, park in the blue tank. So I said, all right. So I sped around and he says, a little crowded, but you probably find a spot. And as I come around one corner, that's when the guy in the suit walks between 2 cars in front of my car. And I slam on the brakes, almost hitting this guy. And I was just, my heartbeat was going 1,000 miles a minute. And my eyes lock up because all I saw was a guy in a suit from the corner of my eye, slammed on the brake. I look up, match eyes. It's Harrison Ford. And I thought, that's awesome. I almost killed Harrison Ford, and I was like, no, because I'm a massive fan of that other sci-fi franchise, and to see him there, and also all the other stuff that he's done. I mean, just huge fan of his.
Yeah.
I almost pooped my pants, literally. I mean, I was so freaking out.
Literally in the tank.
Oh no, in the tank, in the B tank. I thought about the Daily Variety and Hollywood Reporter having. I just saw the headlines.
Unknown Asian actor.
Unknown Asian actor, sci-fi actor, idiot young guy, maims Harrison Ford for
man number 3.
handsome Korean man number 3, maims Harrison Ford for life.
Yeah.
He was not, or kills him.
Kills
He could have-
Han Solo.
Either
That's the headline.
killed him or maimed him. I knew that was the
Yeah.
headline. And then instead, the next day it said says it shows him. He was actually there for the screening of one of the Tom Clancy novel films that he filmed.
What was your doctor name on the other role?
Which one?
On the when you played the Margaret Cho's boyfriend.
Dr.
Raymond Hahn.
So it could be like Dr. Hong kills Dr. Jones.
Yeah,
That's what I was. That's what I was like. Doctor kills doctor. That's what I was going
One doctor
for.
kills another.
That's yeah.
Can you talk about what the process was like?
I think so, right?
The audition?
Should
Yeah.
I be, I should be able to. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So after running over Harrison Ford, I went into the fitting. almost running over Harrison Ford. I went into the fitting and I met Armin for the first time. That was the first actor. Yeah, he was actually. They took me onto the set of the show he was on, and I met him there. And I have to say, there is a filter that they use when they film on that show, our show, because when I saw his teeth, his Ferengi teeth, I can't even say that, his alien teeth. Yeah, when I saw his alien teeth for the first time, it scared the bejesus out of me. I was like, oh my God. But he was a gentleman. He was so kind to me. He was so nice. And he said, come on over and let me give you the, let me give you the 411. Let me give you all the information on what you should be looking for. Check all your force calls. Checked all these little incidental fees that should be paid to you, because Paramount Accounting will err on the side of Paramount. They hire accountants saying, purposely kind of skip a few force calls and don't pay them that because they'll never find out.
Wow.
That was their policy. So I bet
This is after you've got the job.
Yeah, I bet you if you two went back and looked through and tried to, of course, if you had.
I was pretty, I always
you might
checked
find
on that stuff, and we always knew. We used to call it the sofa call.
Yeah.
It was
It's a new couch.
about as much as the cheap couch at IKEA cost.
Sofa call. I love that. The sofa call.
Oh, I got
not a force call. I got sofaed. I love it.
I rarely got
You might
one.
want to bring that mic in a bit closer, I have a feeling. What do you think, Chris?
Sure. Okay.
There we go.
You were saying you have a feeling?
I got a feeling.
I got a
feeling
So anyway,
deep
let's go to
inside.
the audition process. So what's your first audition, and who's it in front of?
Nan Dutton.
Right. So
Nan
she
Dutton,
cast
yeah.
the.
She
Because
cast
didn't
the pilot.
cast the.
No, not the show itself.
Right.
It was Junie and Ron for the show itself, but the pilot episode.
Had
all
Nan
the series
done
regulars.
Next Gen or
Nope.
no?
Nope. I don't
This
know
was
what
a
her
one-off
connection
thing
was.
that she just did the
Yeah,
pilot.
you can't
for
say that either. Yeah, so she just the one-off thing. I showed up. So I walked into Nan's office. I had just finished, literally, auditioning for a feature film, which I found out that I got. I was paged as I was on the Paramount lot. I called my agent and I said, "Oh, I booked it. Wow!" And as I'm being told that I booked this feature film, that director and writer of that feature film that I just did the callback audition for, he was walking past the phone booth where I was talking. And so I'm like, wait a minute, he also ran over to Paramount. Why is he here? But he was walking past the phone booth and he was walking with Brannon. I didn't know who Brannon was. So I walked out. I told my agent, I said, I see the writer director. I'll talk to you later. And I said, Rich Wilkes. I said, thanks, man. Thanks for casting me in your film. He's like, oh, you knocked it out of the park, man. You did such a great job. I said, why are you here at Paramount? He goes, oh, I went to school with Brannon here. We went to college together. So he's giving me a tour of the set of
Oh, wow.
the show that I was auditioning for, right? So, and I was like, wow, I'm actually auditioning for your show now. And I pointed at Brannon, and Brannon goes, in his usual cryptic way, he goes, hope to see you in the second round. That's how he said it, right? And I was like, wow, he's like Dracula, It's Bela Lugosi, that's who writes.
Well, you
on
got
the
that
show. Yeah.
right.
1,
Yeah,
2,
and I was
3
like,
rounds.
exactly. It was a little freaky. And unbeknownst to me, those two walked away, and Rich Wilkes turned to Brannon and he said, please do not steal my fucking actor from me, is what he said to him. And that is exactly what happened, because
Is that
oh my
exactly
God,
what
because I had to turn down because of the whole thing where we had Geneviève Bujold as our captain,
Right,
and then
right.
she left, and then they had to search for someone else. That pushed out the possibility of me filming that feature film because
Wow.
of the lack of, because we were supposed to have a whole month of break after the pilot before we came back for the first episode.
Oh, and then that got crushed.
Yeah. Oh, so that month was
Yeah.
when I was going to film up in Northern California. It was all gone. It was an
It's typical,
amazing
isn't it?
role too. Really great role. And my co-stars were Ben Affleck and Matthew McConaughey was in this
What was
film.
the piece?
It was called Glory Days, and it was just
I
it
know
was
that.
absolutely
Yeah.
Oh, I should. Oh my gosh,
Who
It
ended
was
up playing you?
young Vietnamese actor who I know him. He's a friend of mine,
Right.
but the pinnacle scene for that character that I booked was I was the lead singer of the punk band. So here I am, an Asian American character singing as the lead singer,
Fucking
sexy ass, and that was my callback audition. I had to sing, I had to lip sync that song, which was a punk song, and they said either lip sync it or you sing the lyrics. And I threw it out. I knocked it out of the park because the song was it was called 21. And at the end of the song, you can hear the lead singer. He's screaming. He's like 20, what? And you hear all kinds of furniture being broken in the recording and everything. So in the audition, I ripped my shirt off. I ripped the shirt through the chair that against the wall, and then on the 21, I was gonna just do this, but instead I went 21, and I flipped off the director, and I flipped the producer off, I flipped them all off, and then that's when the writer director walks up to me, and he's 6'5", he bear hugs me and pulls me off the ground, and he goes, "I love you, man." And I said, "I think I booked this role, you know." After "I love you, man," and
So that
was the guy.
Off more in
There you go.
Yeah.
So
That's
Rich
the
Wilkes
trick.
was the writer director, the tall writer director, walking away with Brannon when he said, "Don't you dare steal my f***ing actor."
And that was enough
that's what
for
happened.
Brandon, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then Brannon was like,
Exactly.
"Now it's a
You tell
challenge.
Brandon you can't
Yeah.
have something.
Exactly.
I'm gonna figure out how to." Yeah.
God bless you,
I
Brandon.
will not steal. I will borrow.
was-
So you go in for round two.
Yeah, round two. So, well, going to round one, I was off such a high off of singing that punk song, and it was down at. Do you guys remember? It was a building that literally they would cast probably 18 commercials there, and there'll be one casting of a theatrical casting.
Right.
I can't remember where it was, but it was one of those mega
Somewhere in Hollywood.
Yeah, somewhere in
Right.
Hollywood.
Everyone
and
has a
I
different
yeah,
room.
and
It's like-
remember,
yeah.
I had thrown everything against the wall, screaming and everything. So when I walked out, usually you see hundreds of commercial actors sitting there chatting and yapping. When I walked out that
silent.
door, silent, their eyes are wide open, like, what was he doing in there? Like, what commercial was that for? And I know that I missed out an opportunity. I should have said that, well, that Tide commercial, whoo, like that. They put me through the ringer on that one.
Man, I didn't know.
Good luck
Dixie
to all
cups-
of you. Yeah.
Dixie
yeah.
cups are hardcore, man.
I didn't know Bounty paper towels was that hardcore, but it sure was. Yeah. So I literally walk into Nan Dutton's office on this massive high of booking this, seeing the writer-director who's getting a tour of the set. I'm about to audition for that show.
Yeah.
And you're shirtless.
Yeah, my shirt. Yeah, I have another shirt on, and I walk in there, and the first thing I notice is an ashtray that's probably the size of a Frisbee, and it has a mountain of ash of cigarette butts in it. This is a chain smoker beyond a chain. This is
Nan.
an uber chain smoker.
Nan's
Yeah,
a-
Nan.
yeah.
Oh my God! And she's just done with that last one on top of the mountain, and she goes, "Okay, you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I pick up my sides, I start reading. I get one line out. She goes, "Stop." I go, "What?" "You." I go, "You." I go, "What?" You actors, so unprepared. I said, "This is my first reading. You're still on book?" I go, "Yeah, I'm on. I still have my sides because it's the first audition. Usually that's how it goes." And she goes, "Let me tell you a story." And I was like, "What?" "You know who Andy Garcia is?" I said, "Yeah." "I'll wait."
Sorry.
That's all right.
My ringer's off. I don't know
Identify
what you're
yourself
Sorry.
immediately, or lethal security protocols will engage.
Garcia is? I said, "Yeah, I know who he is." I cast a feature film that he did where he played a Colombian drug lord. I said, "I'm familiar with that film. I've seen it before." Well, that was his very first big project that he ever did. So when he came in on his first audition, do you think he was still on book like you? And I was like, I guess he memorized everything. He's like, "That's right. And that's what makes him a star and you not." That's what she said to me. And I was like, this is verbal abuse. And she goes, "Get out of my office. Go look over your stuff until you're ready, and then come back in." And I walked out and I looked at the casting assistant, Libby, and I said, "Libby," I said, "I can't, no." And she says, "What's wrong?" I said, "What happened?" I said, "Your boss hates me." She was yelling at me. She said, no, slow down. What happened? I said, "Okay, cigarette. It told me I was not ready, blah, blah, blah." And she, wait. She told you to leave and then come back later? I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, no, she definitely likes you then. If she's told you to come back." I said, "No, I'm not good with this." I said, I'm so disheveled and I'm so discombobulated. I'm going to ask you to ask her to reschedule me for another day. And she says, you want me to do what? And I said, just go in and ask. She said, I can't do that. I said, what do you mean? She goes, she's going to scream at me now. And I said, listen, it's just, please, just, she goes, okay, I will do it, but you have to do me a favor. I said, what's that? You cannot be in this office when I go ask her in case she blows up. So go outside this office, go into the alley. There's a trash can.
Hide in there.
Hide behind. Yeah, no, hide in the trash can. No, she goes, hide behind the dumpster. And
She may look in the can, but she won't look behind.
She won't look behind it. So you just stay there, and I'll come out and get you if it's okay. So 10 minutes later,
This really happened?
This really happened. I'm
Hilarious.
sitting here crouched down, looking at my sides, going, I'm going to memorize this the best I can. Libby comes out and says, I don't know what it is about you, but she clearly likes you a lot because she has never rescheduled any actor ever. As long as I've known her, she's never given this type of red carpet treatment. I said, red carpet treatment? She yelled at me. I mean, she goes, just take this as a gift to you, but you're being rescheduled for 2 days from now. You can go back, you can come back, whatever.
Come back off book.
Yeah. I came back off book, did the whole thing.
What was the scene? Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, the scene where my character's about to die, basically. So it's a huge scene. And then I come back for a second, a third, a fourth.
What was her reaction when you came back and knew your lines? Did she have any sort of like, well, thanks for learning your lines,
Yeah,
Garrett?
she might have
Way
been
to
a
go,
little.
champ.
Yeah. Finally.
She goes,
You're going to do it like that?
Yeah.
You want to be a star?
No, so then
I see Andy Garcia in you a little bit.
I see a little Andy in you.
what's your Colombian drug dealer like?
Chinese Andy Garcia from now on. So I end up going back to her, going to producers, going to another producer session with her. And then at one point she goes, those producers don't know what they want. I know what they want. I'm like, okay. And then so we're doing
Garrett
the
Garcia.
scene.
Garrett Garcia. Garrett Garcia. That's what I'm going to start calling you
You
now.
should call me Garrett. G squared as well.
Yeah.
G squared. So I was absolutely just not getting what she wanted in this one. She was trying to prep me for this other producer session. And she says, you're supposed to be dying in this scene. You clearly are not playing pain the correct way or dying. Like, what is your problem? And I said, I'm a little nervous right now. This is my 5th audition. And so she goes, come here. I'm like, what? She goes, walk over here. So I walked over. She goes, roll your sleeve up. So I roll my sleeve up. She grabs my
Did she Chinese burn you?
Yeah, she
Right.
did the.
I don't know if we can still say
You
that.
call it Chinese burn. we call it Indian burn.
burn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I get Indian burned by Nan Dutton. She goes, does that hurt? I go, yeah. She goes, do the scene. So I'm doing the scene while she's Indian burning me. I'm going, and then she goes, now that's how you do pain. Like that. I go, okay. So I go into that callback.
Going to say she's stubbing cigarettes.
Yeah, I know. Hey, she goes, give me your hand. I'm going to put my cigarette out on your palm of your hand, Garrett Garcia.
Yeah.
So I was
like
sitting
punching
here,
you in the
yeah. Take that. And she's beating me.
gallbladder.
So the final audition where I thought it was me and this other kid from New York City, and I came out and I said, so Libby, so what's going on? She goes, they're sending the kid from New York back to New York. I said, so I got it? I said, she goes, not exactly. So what does that mean? Well, they're going to call your agent and ask if you can wait for 2 weeks. I said, for what reason? Because I am supposed to go and look for 30-something-year-old actors to play, and we're going to whittle that down to one guy that's 30-something-year-old against you being our
You're
20.
20, what are you
I was
now?
20. I was early 20s. So they were basically, I was 24 at the time. So they were like,
see.
they wanted to bring an older guy in to see if there was an older guy to play my character. So I told my agent that, and my agent said, screw him. Tell him you're out of the running, that you refuse to wait for 2 weeks. And I said, Jim.
Damn it, Jim.
I mean, we've waited for this
I'm an
long.
actor.
I've gone through, at this point, at the fifth audition, it was 2 months already for the 5th audition. I went through 2 months of auditions. I said, I can wait for another half a month. It's not going to kill me. And he said, in his Stephen Wright way, all right, well, if you think this is what you want to do, then this is what we'll do. And I go, okay, that's what we'll do. So we waited. I waited
it out.
And they had one other guy come in against me. And I knew this guy, actually. His name is Eric Steinberg. He's half Jewish, half Korean. So he's not 100% Asian. And I think that actually helped me in the final thing. I think our acting was both probably pretty close, pretty equal. And then I think Berman or someone said like, yeah, but Garrett looks more Asian. This guy looks kind of, half-half, really.
Right.
And they wanted a 100% Asian guy for this role. So I think that finally helped me. So after 2.5 months, after the 6th audition, I guess, I finally got it.
But could he play the clarinet?
I'm sure I couldn't play it back then either. So
No,
I had to
that.
learn it. But yeah, so it was a long, arduous process for sure.
It sounds like it. Yeah. Stressful.
Yeah. But I just want to bring up that one thing, because the minute we ended, you guys came in, right?
Yeah.
You guys took over.
Mm-hmm.
I befriended all of you immediately.
Yeah,
like
you
I was there to hang out with Anthony, with you.
You were at my bachelor party?
I was at your bachelor party. I helped. I provided the suite for your bachelor party. I did not provide the talent for your bachelor party, which I should have, because
Central
that
casting.
person almost killed you, literally. Yeah.
Tortured. I was tortured.
I've never seen. I mean, literally, it was like watching Nadia Comaneci, the Czech Republic gymnast. This.
Or Daryl Hannah in Blade Runner.
Yeah, did these triple flips and flipped in the air and landed on your neck, practically, is what it was.
You're welcome.
Sitting in the chair. Yeah, all right. Good job, hon.
Thanks.
I've never seen that. It was Blade Runner. It was Daryl Hannah's character in Blade Runner is what this person was duplicating.
She hated it.
And, well, no, because the look on your face, we were all laughing, but I also saw fear in your eyes. You were like, someone,
by
because it
the
was
way,
like she punched you in the
guys
neck.
were feet away from me.
We were feet away
and
from
I was
you.
saying, stop,
help
stop
me.
this.
We thought you were joking, but we didn't know that she was harming you
You
like
had
that.
to say
So
your safe word, Connor.
The safe word was coconut.
I know.
Gazelle.
I
never heard coconut.
Gazelle.
Have you ever been in a spot to use a safe word? You forget what it is.
So I just want to say that I have been in these two gentlemen's lives for quite some time. There was a message that Dom left on my machine once, and I just remember it was talking about possibly going golfing or something like that. But it starts off, he's like, "Right, G-Man, yeah, it's me, Dom." And then he goes, "That's
pretty good."
Yeah, and then he goes, at the end of it, so he's like, "Right, so give me a call. All right, me old China." And he ends with that. And I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, he just said me old China. I was like, how
is that a thing?
Well, here's the thing. I thought he was being racist, and I was like, after I've known you for this long, then you pull the racist card? I go, that's not going to say. So I left this. Did I leave you a message? I left him this long message about how disappointed I was, how offended I was, that how dare he use that. And then he calls back, he's like, "No, this is a British term of affection, me old China, like me old China plate. It means my mate, my old yeah." So
in the slang.
It's a fucking British slang thing. And I'm American. I don't know this. So I didn't know. So he explains that it's this, it's a slang thing. It's a term of affection. And I thought he was being,
term of endearment.
Oh,
I wonder whether you can even say it in this day and age.
You
Probably
cannot.
not. No,
Probably not.
Probably not now.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you did.
Well, good job.
Yeah. And the other
They still make bloody good plates, though.
They do. The other notable story that I told Mark that I would tell at this time, at the juncture, was when we went golfing. And so let me tell my version, please. So we're together. It's Anthony Montgomery, it's Dom, and it's myself. And we're
Was there a
golfing.
fourth? Or was it just the three of us?
No, it was the three of us.
Yeah.
That's
The
it.
Holy Trinity.
And so we're playing at a public municipal golf course. So it's not, it's not Riviera Country Club or anything like that.
playing Wilson.
Yeah, we're playing Wilson Harding or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And as we're going, it's clear that Anthony is the least proficient at golf. He hasn't played a lot of it. He hasn't had instruction. No. So he's either hitting the ball fat or thin. And when you hit the ball thin, it goes maybe 10 feet. It doesn't go anywhere. You're just nipping the top of it. And he did that a few times. And Dom kept looking back at the foursome behind us. And he's like, "All right, we got to hurry up. All right, Anthony, we can't really be waiting this long." He kept looking back at these four guys behind us. I look back at these four guys. They're probably 85 years old. Okay, they're all old. They're smoking cigars. They're looking at each other. They're laughing. They're not even looking at us. Like, they don't even care. And he's like, "All right, pace of play. We really can't keep these gents back here waiting very long." I mean, he's flipping out. Every shot that Anthony hits, I can see every muscle in Dominic tightening a little bit more. It's almost like he's crumpled into like it's a crumpled piece of tinfoil at this point, because these, and again, I keep looking at the old guys, they don't give a poop. Like, none of them are like, "Hey, why? Like, no one's looking at us at all. They're having the time of their lives. They obviously have golfed together for the last 7 decades, okay? These guys don't give a poop what we're doing.
Right.
But Tom is taking offense to this. He's like, all right, that's it. So he drives his cart right up to Anthony's ball, picks it up, and throws it towards the green.
Oh, shit.
Now, that is the number one thing you do not do on a
It
golf
landed
cart.
6 feet from the pin. It's a bloody good shot.
It's so
You're welcome.
It's so offensive. Oh my God. Anthony was like, what? Anthony was like, Dominic. I'm like, I know. I can't believe you did that. He said, I am never playing golf with you again. He literally just, he was so pissed. I was like,
That's just maybe. You're on for 4.
I said, I'm so sorry, Anthony. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm looking back at the old guys. They don't
Now that
care.
I think about it, though, we never have played golf.
Yes, that's right. He's not going to play
First
golf.
and last time.
He's the first and last entirely. Oh my God. Yeah. But back to the whole me old China thing. I mean, racism, or at least racist comments, have been a part of my life.
You got a lot of it, particularly in Tennessee, didn't you?
Oh my God, in Tennessee. And it's the one last area where I feel like prosecution hasn't really matched it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because if you're talking about the Me Too movement, if Kevin Spacey can lose his entire career because of all the stuff he's done there, which rightly so, well, I feel like people that have been racist in the past should also be canceled, but they're not. It's still allowed. It's the one thing, and that's, one crime, I think, in this country that's still there.
And Asian Americans have really been.
I think they've been stepped on.
Since COVID.
I think Asian Americans and Middle Eastern people of Middle Eastern descent are the two stepped on by the most.
Those
by
random
far.
bits of footage of
By far.
Old,
I mean,
an Asian lady walking down the street and just getting fucking sucker punched
by some young African American or Latino individual.
It's just the most grim thing to look at.
It is horrible, but
Imagine what happened to your grandma,
Yeah, and that's the thing. When I think about it, I see that video. I see multiple videos of young inner city youths beating up older Asian people, killing them, and I start thinking, what if that was my mom? What if that was my dad? And if you think about the racism against Asians, it is multi-generational. Because if you think about it, this country has been in an armed conflict with Asian countries as well, right?
Yeah,
so we're talking about World War II, Japan, Korean
Vietnam.
War, Koreans and the Communist Chinese, Vietnam, the North Vietnamese and Communist Chinese again. So you have multiple, and then the 80s, there were the trade wars between GM and Toyota and Honda. So again, another war against Asia. So there's multiple generations of people that have been involved in an armed conflict or an economic conflict with an Asian country. So I feel like Asian and Middle Eastern are definitely the two ethnic groups that get stomped on the most. And it's horrible, because if you live in this country, you're going to think, well, there's only a black and white problem. But it's really not just black and white problem. It's not at all. No. Yes, African Americans have been systemically treated like horribly throughout the centuries, right? I get that. But at the same time, if you're talking about like a young white kid in Iowa, they're looking up to LeBron James going, oh, I love that guy, or looking up to a rapper, oh, I love this rapper. They're not going, oh, I'm looking up at Jackie Chan. You know what I'm saying? It's very few people go trying to emulate an Asian person, but they're emulating African-American sports stars, rappers, entertainers, actors. So yeah, historically speaking, yes, African-Americans have had it worse in this country because of slavery. Yes. But after the aftermath of that, my God, there's a Denzel Washington. He's an A-list actor of African-American descent, right? Who's the Asian guy that's going to fit there with that? There really isn't. You can't really name that person.
And I emulate Garrett Wong.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But again, to me, that is some of the most hardcore racism is towards Asians. And so for me, on the sci-fi show I was on, I was so happy not to speak with an accent, not to have to do, and that's something I told them in the beginning. I said, look, don't make me go order a bowl of, kimchi or something when I'm in mess hall. You know what I'm saying? I want this to be
Was there any hint
Starfleet.
Was there any hint of that ever in any of the scripts initially?
Not at all. Not at all. And they said, yeah, we'll come up to you if there's anything questionable. And they did. There was a piece of wardrobe that was very questionable because it sort of wrapped in front, sort of like an Asian style. And I walked in there and they said, we want to make sure you're not offended by this. And I said, well, thank you guys. That's actually... keeping your eye out for me, and I appreciate that. And I put this thing on, and I was like, nah, there's a lot of patterns going on. And they said, yeah, that's actually a repurposed piece of wardrobe. So I said, so someone else already wore this on my show? He's like, no, on the show before you. I said, oh, who wore it? I go, Patrick Stewart. I go,
You're like,
I love it. I love this. I said, I wear this as a turban. I wear it as a didiaper. How do you want me to wear it?
Can I smell it?
Can I smell it? Can I just touch it? Like, you know, when I had his wardrobe on,
You still have it, don't you?
no, I wish I did. God, they should have given that to me as my parting gift. You know,
Have you involved yourself in anti-racism?
No, it's funny because, you know, Chase is a sort of that be kind thing, whatever. But even Chase kind of slipped. I remember one time we were sitting there working on a project that we're together, some independent film project we were on, and
Unbelievable.
Probably unbelievable. And then she was talking about, you know, she'd already been doing her Be Kind project or whatever at that time, and she did this thing where she went, oh, I saw. She did that whole, you know, oh, yeah, so that Japanese sort of Asian, you know, kind of mock tone. I go, what are you doing? She goes like, what? I said, that's totally racist. And for you to be on your platform of Be Kind, that's completely opposite of that. She goes, oh my God. But that just shows you how ingrained racism is towards Asians. Like it's nothing for someone to make that sort of, oh, so sort of thing, because it's so in there that she can say that next to me. And to her, it's not offensive to Asians, right? And I've had that before with other people, Caucasian friends that will make something will happen in public where maybe some old Asian people walk past and they're like, oh, so they start doing it too. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm right next to you. Yeah. But to them, it's not being racist. It's commonplace. It's okay. It's allowed. So
have you addressed this?
But old enough to know better.
Have you addressed this publicly before today? This have you said?
Probably publicly to friends. Yeah,
but not as vociferously.
Not as passionate as I have here. Probably not. No.
Well, so that's a welcome space.
Yeah. Is it a crime?
I think bullying should be a crime. Yeah, I think all bullying should be a crime, whether it's racist bullying or bullying because you remember when Columbine happened. All these people were calling in to CNN. We need metal detectors at the door of every school. We need armed security. I go, no. You need to make bullying you need to make any type of bullying basically expulsion or felony. Or if the answer to bullying was felony, people would stop real quick. You don't want a felony on your record. You know what I'm saying? So if you make the punishment so severe that people just won't do it, then you stop the person from becoming the outsider, the one that's being picked on so much that they go home and find a gun and come to school and shoot everybody.
Or themselves.
Okay? Because the people that came to Columbine to shoot around, they were not the high school football team captain. They were not the most popular, the president of the class. These were the outcasts. These were the outsiders. These were the nerds. These were the ones that were made fun of by the football players. Right? But bullying is like, oh yeah, boys will be boys. Bullshit.
I hate that.
Bullshit. No, if you say bullying, you are expelled from this school and you have a felony, trust me, every school shooting would stop. Because if you make everything inclusive, where you're like, okay, we're teaching inclusiveness here. Okay, the goth guy, you're gonna bring him into the fold. You know, he's gonna be part of your group, your friendship group. You know, okay, you're not gonna discriminate against anybody at this school.
And it's something that needs to be taught early.
Exactly.
If it's taught too late, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But do you agree with me? Like, if you were expelled from a school that you're at,
absolutely,
that's a huge issue.
I could give you a lot of names of people who would be expelled on my behalf.
Definitely.
I was like, yeah, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
And and I think a lot of people in the arts come from a background of bullying because it comes from not feeling I know this is weird, but it comes from a feeling of not feeling validated or loved or accepted, to where when you get that love of performing in the arts and you get that love back for the first time, like that first laugh from an audience, or you're just like, you don't, you know, as a child, I would just want to perform all the time, because if not, it was just being like sitting at home crying, you know, like it was just like, but yeah, bullying is something that I think if we're taught at a young age that it's okay to be different, the world will be a better place.
Most definitely.
So many, and I love how, I do love now how, you know, especially not just with like racism, but with gender now, how it's becoming, you know, so much more common that kids are discovering that there's so many different types of genders, and, you know, people of the LGBTQIA community or TIA community. It's one of those things where it needs to be taught early, which
Yeah.
is why them banning books and banning like sex ed and all this other thing is a huge problem for me.
I hear you. I think part of the reason why I was so successful quickly getting on the show that I got onto was because in my mind, it wasn't all about being rich and famous. A lot of people come to Hollywood from their podunk town in the US or wherever they are from the world. Yeah, for their big break because they want to be rich and famous. But my whole thing was I wanted to portray a non-stereotypical role, which hopefully would stop some ethnic kid walking down the street in the South from being called a name. And when I was in Memphis for those 8 years, every single day without fail, a stranger called me a name. Every single day. And that kind of weighed on me. And I kept thinking, like, why is God doing this to me? Why is the universe giving me this much crap? But in reality, it was because it set me up for something way greater, which was to be on the show that I got onto. Because then I asked my younger cousins, still living in Memphis, 10 years younger than me, I said, so quick question, when you were in high school, how many times did you get hassled for being Chinese? And both of them said, not once. And I was like, yes, because I felt like, you know, seeing my character. Yeah, because like, I told the guys on the producers, I said, I want him to be I want him to be, I gotta say Starfleet, don't I? I want him to be part of the organization first, and then Asian second is what I kept saying, right? I want him to be part of the
his
group,
ethnicity
right?
His
ethnicity should be exactly. It should be an afterthought. It should be a complete afterthought.
Right,
and because of that, I do feel like that I did my part in keeping at least my younger cousins from getting harassed, you know, because then now people are channel surfing like, oh yeah, look, there's an Asian guy, no accent, speaking like normal with everybody else, main character,
right?
I believe it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people are like, okay, I'll go with that. So, and I do feel like that has changed, but those roles are few and far between. Tons of roles are still with Chopsaki accents and Yakuza members or Chinese triad members, right? There's still those roles.
Right.
So it just takes more awareness and more projects that are written, you know, from an Asian voice, you know, from an Asian American voice. That's what's missing.
We're certainly getting more of that.
Oh, for sure.
You're seeing it. You're seeing it. But I'll tell you, it's always been 2 steps forward for Asians in Hollywood and 1 step back. When Sesu Hayakawa, the silent screen matinee idol, back in the silent movie era, he was given his own studio. They said, "Look, we love you so much. We're going to give you your own studio where every movie made here will be your movie. You decide everything." And that was unheard of. But for an Asian American to get that, and he got that, and then Pearl Harbor happened, and it got pulled away, right?
Yeah.
It's like you get punished for something that's not.
For the movie with the one movie that came out recently that had an all Asian cast that made tons of money at the box office. That came out and I cried when I was in that movie.
Crazy Rich.
Yes, I was crying watching that movie because I said, "Oh my God, finally they allowed every person to be Asian." Because typically you got to have Tom Cruise as the lead and then all Asian people around him. It's okay. Then we'll allow Asians to be there. But this movie was different in that it was at the theater and it was not limited release. It was released everywhere and it made tons of money.
Made a lot of money.
But then guess what? That was 2 steps forward. What was the 1 step back? COVID hit. And then you've got a leader of the country saying it's the China flu, the Kung flu. Yeah. So he screwed it up. So I blame all those videos of older Asian people getting beat up in the inner city on him. Because think about it. Yeah. Because I know what happened. That inner city kid didn't out of the blue say, today's the day for an older Asian person to die. No, their uncle or aunt died of COVID. And so they made that connection. Aha, this is the person that caused it. Here's someone I can blame for Auntie Jenny passing away. I'm going to take out this older Asian person because our leader of our country told us this is where it came from. It's all Chinese. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, amazing movie, amazing step forward, and then backwards because of COVID. It's like, Jesus Christ, it never stops. It's like, please throw us a bone and let us keep that bone. Stop taking it away from us. Every time every Asian makes a step forward, advancement for Asians everywhere, something happens.
Well, the keeping of the bone, as it were, is that, you know, money talks. And if it makes money, they'll go to the well again. And they've done that. And I mean, geez, growing up, you never saw There were none.
It really was nothing. No, I mean, I saw George. That was the only thing. Seeing George without his accent as the character that he played, Takei.
Right.
And then they had one Calgon commercial. Do you remember that? They were like, "Mr. Lee, how do you get your clothes so clean?" And he's like, "Well, ancient Chinese secret." But he spoke without an accent, right? And then they come and then they figure out it's Calgon. That's the
you had
reason
Kung
why.
Fu.
And yeah, but Kung Fu again, there's an accent there, and he was played by Carradine, who was clearly not Chinese or any. Yeah, so there you go. So it's always and if you think about it, Charlie Chan.
Yeah, I love Charlie
Those
Chan.
were played by also Caucasian actors too.
Right.
With taped back eyes to
Mickey Rooney.
The famous
Mickey Rooney.
Infamously.
Oh my
famous
god.
magician.
You know, when I watched
did that.
that movie with Mickey
Breakfast at
Rooney, and
Tiffany's.
oh my god, I was so excited to watch it. And then when his character came out, I almost vomited. I was so upset to see that because it's a caricature. It's a caricature. Not every Asian has glasses and buck teeth. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, oh my god. But again, this is what I've been dealing with as an Asian in this country for my entire life. And it's always like, okay, a little bit of headway and pulled back. A little bit of more headway and pulled back. I'm just waiting for the day where everyone's like, oh yeah, let's cast this Caucasian character's buddy as Asian now. Because typically Hollywood is African-American. That's
we're getting
the
there.
color we're going to give you.
I think
and that's it.
We're actually at a stage where that's sort of actually happening.
Do you feel that? Because I
do.
still feel it's still
I'll tell you
heavily
how I
weighted.
feel how it's happening is I don't get the auditions anymore.
All right. But even
That's
when
how I know it's happening. I think it's time we went to fan questions.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
do it.
I'm looking at the clock. And
What
I
is
know-
it? What do we have right now? What's
It's half past 3.
3:28.
okay, we got to move. Yeah.
Oh, all right. It is time for the fan questions.
All right,
I
Bonnie.
know.
Bonnie, go ahead.
This is from Doreen, aka Sparky Forever 84 from Patreon. If the Delta Flyers and the Shuttle Pod Show would do a karaoke competition, what songs would you choose and who do you think would win? First of all, if I was part of this competition, Shuttle Pod Show, no offense.
Wow.
I'm a karaoke guru.
Okay.
It is my world. I mean,
I'm going to say.
but I can also switch teams.
That's fine. I'm not a singer. McNeil is. Robbie's a really pretty.
Is he good?
Yeah, he's good. He did Into the Woods. He was the main. He was the cast. Yeah. Oh shit! I can't even say that. He's done Broadway plays more than once. So and he's
did not know
a
that.
good singer.
I did know that. He went to Juilliard.
Yeah, and he went to Juilliard.
wow.
Yeah, he's a good singer. So if he was singing a song, I think he would do quite well in that competition. I don't know if either of you guys are singers as well.
For laughs in the pub.
For laughs in the pub.
I'm not a great singer,
not to
but
pay the rent.
I can sell it. In
He
karaoke.
killed Sabotage when we were in Vegas.
Oh yeah,
just
someone
now.
wouldn't sing it. Somebody didn't come up, and I was like,
You took it?
All right, I'll do it.
All right.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
I'm not a.
Doesn't matter. It's karaoke.
Yeah, but if I was to, it would be U2 with or without you. So
Nice.
That's a tough
good
song.
one.
That's not
a good
easy.
one.
It's
not easy.
Now I want
Especially
to
when
do
it
a
hits
duet
up
with
high.
Robbie.
You should do a duet with Robbie.
Oh
That'd be
my
good.
gosh. All right.
Next
All
one.
right, skip this one and go to Colleen.
Okay. All right. This next question is from Colleen from
Okay.
Patreon.
All right.
How nerve-wracking is it to stay within strike rules while still keeping the fans happy?
I don't know. You tell us.
Oh, Lord.
It hasn't been easy. Already in the process of this one, I've said it. I think I've caught myself 4 times
Yeah.
already. Mark, there's one whole part earlier that needs to be pulled out entirely that I just let go anyway.
Yep.
Just for the hell of it. We'll talk about that later. But I've caught myself 4 times or so in this one. It's difficult. It's not
tough.
easy.
It's real tough. All right. Moving on.
Yes.
This is from RobKC3FJE from Twitter. What's next for the Delta Flyers?
Oh, well, we made an announcement, actually. We are doing a little pivot. We're going to start watching some of the show that was still on when we were still on. Of those
got it.
guys, yeah, that happened to be on not on a ship. That one, yeah. So
Got it.
we're going to
That
go
one that was further
the one that
out
further out,
into
yeah.
deep space.
There's
Those
a
guys.
number.
Yeah, there's a number
yeah.
involved in their name. Yeah, so we're gonna pivot there, and we're gonna have Armin on joining us, and
Nice.
as well as Terry for some of them too. So we're doing that right now.
And you're going to open a restaurant.
We're gonna open a we're gonna open a restaurant. Right. There you
Oh
go.
my goodness.
But yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
Have you come to the end of your
Yeah, we're
1,000
done.
episodes?
We're done. But our content that we're uploading now,
Motherfucker.
we're done. We just finished just now, so we are now all the content we're doing now has nothing, none of our show in it or anything. So it's just us talking about concepts and things. So.
Didn't want to do our show.
What's that?
Didn't want to do our show.
Who?
You guys.
What do you mean?
Didn't want to do the show that Dominic and I were on. The pivot you're making.
Oh, no.
I'm kidding.
Love.
Yeah, no, we did, but you went a different path, though. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we did have initial conversations, but we never got to that. I think Mark beat me to the punch.
But then also-
I had my pitch for you guys to go down our path. But
No, I think what he's asking is you didn't want to,
Watch that one.
Examine our
go
show.
our show.
no, well,
not this show, our show.
I understand.
Centric.
We took a poll. And from our poll, this is what our Patreon fans said. We would love you if you went this direction.
Whatever.
I have no problem seeing. I have no problem being
I'm
on
kidding with
the
you.
Bacula show. It's
They
okay.
did a poll.
We're still the ginger-headed stepchild. Now that's racist.
Oh no! I don't want to be offensive to you. Yeah, I can even say that to you
Guys.
No,
Yeah.
your car rental company.
You car rental company. Yeah.
There you go.
That's funny.
that's
I
funny.
didn't think about that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At Hanko Duck from Twitter asks, "Will you be doing a haiku for this Shuttlepod episode?"
Oh my gosh.
Are you a
You
haiku?
guys write haikus
we
for
do.
each episode.
We do
don't you?
haikus and limerick. I do a haiku and McNeil does a limerick. So for each episode. So hold on. Shuttlepod is fun. I am sweating my balls off. Mark is still laughing. Okay. There you go. That's my haiku.
Nice.
We're going to frame that.
Oh my God, no.
Put that right under your your face.
Do
in
not
the-
put balls
portrait.
underneath my face, please. Yeah.
We're gonna post it. That's great.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stephanie Baker from Patreon has asked, "Hi Garrett, what is something that you try to do daily for your mental or physical health?"
If I get a chance, I like yoga has been my new thing. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with that. Mostly because Megan was the one that kind of convinced me I should do this. She's been trying to get me to go to yoga for 3 or 4 years. I finally gave in about 4 months ago, and it's something that I wish I could have done when I was 20. I'll say
Really?
that much. And
Good for you.
I highly recommend everyone in this room.
Oh, I'm a big yoga
Give it a
dude.
shot. I'm telling you.
I did it for a
It's-
while.
It works very slowly, but it does work. You know what I'm saying? It's bit by bit. It's incremental.
Right.
The Grand Canyon wasn't carved out in a day, right? So the same thing with your body. Incremental, but at least keeping it moving and keeping it in sync.
Yeah.
Especially at our age, the older we get, we start hearing creaks that we never heard in our 20s.
I'm telling you, getting up out of this chair. Give
me
the
a
show. You're like, wow.
crack, popple, crack. Yeah.
Exactly. Who made popcorn?
Yeah. How many pop sounds can you hear? Yeah.
You did a
So what are you doing? Are you doing hatha yoga? I take it.
No, it's gosh, I do it up in Calgary. It's hot yoga. So
Oh,
we're
you do
there.
Bikram?
Oh yeah. So it's a different version of. It's not Bikram exactly, but it's still in a hot room though. So
It's hatha. It's basically hatha.
I'm guessing.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good for you.
Yeah. So I'm glad you're doing it.
Oh, I've been doing it. I mean,
a while.
25 plus years. I mean, I
Wow.
practice every morning.
Yeah,
Well,
you
that's
gotta
probably
uncrumple
why
the
you're.
can.
That's
You
why.
got to uncrumple the can.
Yeah, no
That's
kidding. I
probably-
mean, I
after
did
that
an hour
golf
this morning.
game.
Yeah.
Yoga. He's like, I gotta get out
a
of
couple
this.
can. Yeah. God.
So wait, so you do a haiku every show, and Robbie does.
Robbie does limerick, and then we flipped around, and I was doing limerick, and he was doing haiku. But then I was like,
I'm
no,
gonna do a limerick right now because it's kind of like writing a jingle. So this
Go.
is my superpower.
go.
This is our guest named Garrett. It's really hot, so he's covered in sweat. He was on a sci-fi show. Can we say the name? No, because we want to give the strike merit.
Wow.
Well done.
Nice, Bonnie.
Thank you.
Holy
Thank you.
crap.
Thank you.
I'm impressed. Wow. Robbie's gonna get jealous. So you thought of that? Like Robbie actually has to sit down. He has to think about it. He gets Rebecca helps a
I was gonna say,
lot
Rebecca
as
helps.
well. Oh God, Rebecca's so good at it. It's unbelievable.
When I was
and
on-
you came up with that. Just you literally pulled that out of your bum. It was so fast.
Don't tell anyone
won't
my
tell anyone.
secrets. No, it's like my superpower. If I can get like someone's name
Yeah.
and like 3 or 4 things about them,
And you
I can
got
usually
it.
write a jingle.
I love it.
For them. So I just switched the formula, and I was like, okay,
I
limerick.
love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Next question.
The end. Oh,
Oh, that's.
Oh, is that it?
that was the end for the.
Oh, then we go to super fun trivia.
Oh yeah. It's a trivia. It's a
It's time for trivia.
contest.
Are you good
right?
at this? Do you know much about the shows we're not going to make? How are we doing this?
Oh,
by
that's
the
a
way?
good
Oh, we
question.
can't do that.
Yeah, we
guys.
can't do this. So, just like my limerick said, due to the strike, we are going to side on the side of caution. Sure,
Err on
we'll
the
go
side
with that
of
way.
Err on the side of caution.
We're going to err on the side of caution and skip the trivia this episode. However, that just gives us more time to go to Connor's deserted island. Ooh. And that also means that Garrett has an honorary win for Brian Ackerman. So you won. You won
Brian
trivia.
Ackerman.
You didn't have to.
Patreon member
bless you,
Brian.
Brian.
New car.
Congratulations, Garrett.
You get a car.
I get a car.
You get a car. You get a car. Look under your seats. We all
right.
get cars. They're Hot Wheels.
That's what it was so uncomfortable. So now we are on
island.
a
Your
deserted island with Connor Trinier.
All right.
There's a comma there, so I'm not there with you.
Oh,
So
there's a comma.
there's a comma.
Is it
So
an
you are
Oxford
on a
comma?
deserted island for the rest of your life. You are allowed the works of Shakespeare and what other religious texts that you want. That's already given to you. Now you get to select your cuisine. If you choose Italian, you get all Italian food.
Okay.
Same for desserts. If you choose cookies, you can have all the cookies.
Okay.
Your author, their complete works.
Yeah.
And musician, composer, whatever that turns out to be.
Okay.
And then you get a bonus item, which has completely fallen apart at this point.
So I'm already handed one religious text.
Yeah.
Like a Bible, and
if
then
that's what you choose.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll
Okay.
take the Bible, and then one Shakespeare play.
you
or-
get
No,
all-
you
you
get
get
the
all of them
complete
already.
works. You get the complete
Oh,
works of
So
Shakespeare.
you don't have to. Basically, they're saying pick a different author because you already get all of those.
Right. So
A lot of
let's
people
go
would
with
pick Shakespeare, and it was all Shakespeare. Oh my
Right.
God.
Right. Okay.
So it's
okay.
so your cuisine.
My cuisine. I'm gonna go if I'm gonna eat it for the end of time.
Yeah.
Japanese. I'll go Japanese.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So it'll be sushi, of course, but one of my favorites is okonomiyaki. Okonomiyaki is a Osaka pancake, basically. It's so good, but it's not sweet. It's a hearty dish, right? So
Hearty
Japanese food just covers the whole.
oh, it's unbelievable. There's usually seafood thrown in that as well, but it's so good. So Japanese food.
Your author?
I'm gonna go with Tolkien.
Ooh, good one.
Tolkien.
Good.
J.R.R. Tolkien. I'll go with him. Yeah.
And then your musician / composer
Or band.
or band or whatever.
It's going to be a Dutch DJ. Actually, it's going to be Armin van Buuren. So anything Armin van Buuren.
Wow.
Party
Dutch
Island.
name.
Yeah.
We're raving on Garrett's Island.
And your dessert.
My dessert would have to be. I'm going to go with pineapple upside down cake.
just cake.
You could just say cake.
So then you get all the
Oh,
cakes.
so I get all the cakes?
All
then?
the cakes.
Oh. But then I love pies too. So
See, that's-
That's the hard part about
okay.
this.
You can do
No,
what I
no,
did. I
no,
think I went
no,
the cobbler, which is like
No,
pie
I'm gonna
too,
go.
but
I'll go pie. Over
Pie?
cake. Yeah, it'll have to be
Okay.
pie.
all the pies.
All
You
the
get
pies.
Your bonus item, and I'm still not sure how
Pie
I feel about the bonus.
includes shepherd's pie too, right? It's all the pies, so I can even go into that.
Savory
too.
pie.
Savory pie.
Everybody tries to keep taking from the show in the game.
Sorry, what else? What's
So your bonus item.
Yeah.
Now it can't get you off the island.
yeah.
For instance, I always pick a machete, and James Darren selected a Ferrari.
Yeah.
So
It's more of a luxury item. What would you prefer never to be without on this deserted island?
nobody's making your bed.
Okay, all right. Okay, I already know. I need a big screen TV with a subscription to NFL Network or something where I can watch games.
All right. You know,
That's
Okay, sure.
That's nice. I
yeah,
think
football is such a big part of my life.
Do you have
watching football.
electricity?
Yeah, I need electricity for that too,
Yeah,
right?
that's
I need a
that's
generator.
another
I need a
bonus item.
generator.
Just
yeah.
saying, that's another bonus item.
you could,
I'm kidding.
a solar. It's a
you could
solar.
fashion
no.
some sort of
You could have some
bicycle.
sort of- yeah.
It's a solar powered
Sort
television.
of riding bike like that.
Solar powered television with a subscription, with a satellite subscription built into
The picture's
it.
getting fuzzy. Pedal my ass off like that. Yeah. There you go.
What's your favorite
I need more
football team?
pie.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
It's going to extra time. Oh, fuck it.
Double overtime.
Who's your football team, Gary?
College, I went to UCLA, so it would have to be the Bruins. But I also cheer for the Bulldogs because of Robbie McNeil, who's a huge Georgia Bulldogs fan. So
That's timely.
yeah. And then, yeah, very timely. My gosh, they're the powerhouse now, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then pro, I used to say any team that's playing the Patriots is my favorite. So, yes, I'm pretty anti-Boston, aren't I? Oh my God, I don't want to come off like that because there's got to be other Boston celebs that are amazing, you know, other than
No.
no. Oh, there's that one chef, Ming. There's one Asian American chef, Ming Chan or whatever. He's from Boston, so there are some Boston people that I'm fans of. I can't remember if that's his name or not.
Town. I guess not all of
So
it.
that's,
But
that's the answer.
no.
Any team
But
against
pro
the
team,
Patriots?
no pro team.
Didn't Mark Wahlberg put the
Raiders.
money out for that restaurant?
Raiders?
Yeah,
I'm a Saints girl.
you're a Saints girl.
You're the Raiders.
It's the only team. It's the only team I care about.
Yeah, I see you have a Seahawks hat on, so
Yeah.
you follow Seahawks and on Washington football as well, right?
Yeah.
Are you happy with the coaching staff? Yeah,
In Seattle?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in what's going to happen this year. They weren't supposed to be that good last year.
Right. And it's kind of weird because the minute Paul Allen passed away, like his wife took over or whatever. And then
Sister, I think.
Sister, okay.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm sure she's not a massive football fan. So it kind of helped Pete Carroll out because he was sort of left there with the reins in a way. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So it's sort of like, okay, well, you keep doing what you're doing, and
Right.
he's still there. So
I mean, I think he's probably near the end of his reign, but
you think so?
well, I mean,
I don't.
he's 900
It's
years
Paul
old.
Allen's sister, though. I know he's 900 years old, but so it's probably. I think that Pete Carroll will probably coach there until he breathes his last breath. Is my feeling.
Well, I don't want to watch that.
I got. Yeah, especially
Hopefully
when
not
it's
during the game. Yeah.
He's like, put in DK Metcalf, and he passes away in the
And
middle
they're
of the
like,
game.
oh, we practiced that.
Yeah, we practiced that move.
one.
Yeah.
Well, how do you think the Raiders are going to do?
The Raiders. It's interesting because if you look at the Raiders roster now, it's a whole bunch of Patriots, ex-Patriots, because Josh McDaniels is the coach there, right? The ex-offensive coordinator for the Patriots is now the head coach for the Raiders. There's a lot of mishaps and a lot of it's just weird stuff happening. Like that one wide receiver that was speeding in his car 140 miles an hour and ends up killing somebody. Did you know that? The Raiders.
Yeah.
That stuff doesn't happen to every football team.
I often wonder, young men in their 20s going to Las Vegas with a lot of money in their pocket.
It's okay.
They
I
think
gotta
they're
say,
invincible.
if you're,
I'm just going to say, young men in their 20s going to Las Vegas,
That
not
was
the
me.
greatest things in the world
Yeah,
happen.
well,
I mean, sometimes, but it's a little wild.
yeah, but you should have you should have the wherewithal to know that if you have an NFL contract, you have enough to get an Uber or a town car to take you to get drunk and take you back, so you're not speeding at 180 miles an hour down the road and drunk. You know, I mean, he was completely inebriated, right? So it's like, dude. You ruined your whole entire life, unfortunately.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But that's behind them now, and I just hope we got Jimmy G, you got Garoppolo over there. I mean, that's
Really?
okay. It's all right. He's handling.
That's a lateral move.
Yeah, but you think that's a lateral move from Carr? That's not
I do.
I think that's a step up. I think Carr's too squirrely. I mean, I don't think he can see the field as good as Garoppolo can.
These two have just not said a
We're
word.
just like, so Drew Brees, right?
We got Dominic who's like, so we're gonna talk about footy. We're gonna talk about actually Manchester United or
Let's talk about real
Leicester.
football.
We're talking about Leicester, the Leicester team. So the Raiders, they have some way to go, but I do think that they look better than they did last year. That's
They
for
look
sure.
so
but
much
the
better.
Seahawks, I'm very, very excited to see what happens with you guys.
Yeah, it could go either direction. I mean,
It can.
it all depends on the
can.
momentum that they create.
Yep. Most
and
definitely.
that they've got to get off on a fast start.
Yeah, it's so crazy that the Seahawks were. Isn't it correct? They were not NFC at one point. They were.
Oh yeah, they were AFC.
AFC.
Forever.
It was like what?
Forever.
Now- yeah.
When's the season start? In a couple of weeks?
Yeah, they're doing the completely unnecessary preseason games now.
Yep. Yep.
And there's
Why
only
do they
one
do
left,
those?
I
Are they
think.
just warm ups? Or?
No, they're there because they have to figure out who they're going to cut. Okay, so if you perform well in a preseason game, you get to be on the roster. If you don't, I'm sorry.
You're out.
Bye bye.
They need
think
to get the ball to the home goal hole.
Exactly.
Dom. I'm trying to explain to the home run goal.
It's funny because
I like American football.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
There's a
I
lot of
do.
Brits who don't like it
No,
because
I
they
like
don't
it.
understand it. That's
No,
the thing.
I have a more than a rudimentary understanding now after all these years, but I don't follow it seasonally.
Well,
And
you remember,
and we
I
didn't
was-
have a team. You know, for the longest time, LA
Yeah,
didn't have a
they
team.
didn't. They didn't.
The Raiders left literally the year I
Yeah.
arrived, and initially, yeah. But no, I actually like it. I like a big game. I like the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I like the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
for
the
sure.
commercials. We're all there.
I
for
watched the
commercials.
Super Bowl. Do you know this? I went to Dom's
He did,
house
yeah,
to
yeah.
watch the Super Bowl
Last
when
year?
the Colts. No, this is when the Colts played the Bears.
That's right.
And you remember the first play of the game? What happened in the first play of the game? The Colts kicked off to the Bears. And the Bears had their amazing, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame, kick returner, Devin Hester. So Devin Hester took it to the house.
He did, yeah.
scored
Yeah.
on that. And you remember
You had
my
a goal
reaction.
hole.
You had
remember my
money.
reaction.
You had money on
I
the
had,
game.
I had $22,000 bet on the Colts. And so when that Bears player ran in for the touchdown, I looked at Dom, I go, oh my God. And he said, what, G-Man? What? I said, I got a lot of money on this game. He's like, what? You got $100? I go, no, 22 grand right now. And he was like, oh, gee.
I guess I'm getting the pizza.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God. Yep, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was something else. Watching that, they won, so I did win my money. So
Yeah,
I
you
was
did.
happy. Yeah,
God
I did
bless.
not lose.
Wow.
And that was a span of 20 years in a row where I guessed the correct Super Bowl winner. 20 Super Bowls in a row. I was thinking of starting my own service where I would have people subscribe.
Isn't
to
there
me.
like some animal or like a rooster or something?
Yeah, or an octopus that guesses this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's picked
yeah.
like it right the last.
It's like,
Yeah.
well, isn't it like the hedgehog seeing a shadow?
yeah.
Is it
It-
hedgehog?
well-
No, it's not hedgehog. It's not a hedgehog. It's a.
What is that animal?
Oh my gosh! Why am I blanking? And I'm like, it's not
An
a
otter.
It's not a hog.
groundhog.
It's not
It's a groundhog.
Groundhog.
Hog,
No,
not
you said-
hedgehog. Groundhog. Yeah,
Not a
groundhog.
hedgehog. There was a hog in
Yeah.
there. I was like, it's not a beaver.
Did you pick last year's?
No, I stopped. This was like, the 20-year span was from 2000 to 2020. I picked everything
Wow.
right. The one I did not get right, I picked the Seahawks to win in that one against the Patriots. where
I can't even
instead
talk
of
about
handing it to beast mode, they
Right.
tried to pass it. But yeah,
From the
everyone-
3-yard line.
Oh God, no. The DB is right there. Why would you throw it to a DB who could just step forward and get an interception? That's exactly
And
what
do what he
happened.
did.
And do what he did.
Yeah.
I said everyone who watched that was a Seahawks fan probably threw up at that moment. They were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you
Well,
gotta be kidding me."
I'm crying on the inside right now.
I know. So that's the one that I lost, and I stopped betting on Super Bowl.
And
after
he
that, so.
spiked it over the net to the third
There
baseman.
you go.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah.
I'm
For a double-
translating.
For a double fault?
Yeah,
Double
yeah,
fault.
yeah. He got flagged.
Yeah.
I think we're at our time.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Gee,
for
man.
It's
coming.
been wonderful.
We've wanted to have you on the show for
Garrett
a long time.
Garcia, my
I
goodness,
have
what a
had
delight
fun.
you are.
I give you permission to cut out any really dark moments in this podcast if you choose to do that. I did get on a bit of a soapbox, and maybe that may not be as
That's your
appropriate.
box to be on. That's
man.
you're
Yeah.
right. Like,
Yeah.
honestly,
You're all right
it
with us,
needs to be
Mel
heard.
China.
It needs to be heard.
Yeah, I'm all right with it. I'll
think you
always
can
be
say
your
that.
old China. I know. Like, subscribe, and join the Shuttlepod Show on Patreon.